Hey loves, welcome, hola mi gente for my Spanish speakers. I'm so glad to see you here. Those of you that are here early, I know a lot of us are on CP time, but FYI, I will not be on CP time. So if you want to catch me live from the very beginning, you have to be here on time. Now, if you're here catching the replay, hello, you're late, but it's still good to see you here, replay folks. Welcome to On the Block with Jen. You know what it is. Let's pay the bills first. And the way I pay the bills is hit the notification bell, hit subscribe, hit the like for me. Give you a few seconds to do that. That's how I pay the bills around here. Of course, I also have a super chat and I also have a cash app. Okay. But if you can't do that for me, please hit the notification bell, the subscription button, and the like. Okay, I take likes too. All right. So welcome everyone to On the Block with Jen. The first thing I want to do is start today with a deep breath. Can we all take a deep breath? A deep breath, right? This is going to be informative. It's going to be fun. Okay. The subject is triggering for a lot of people, believe it or not. The word submission is what the show is about today, submission. And when women hear that, we cringe, right? It's a trigger word because believe it or not, the word submission has been weaponized, right? This is the new world order. This is 2022. So a lot of words that used to mean nothing to us back in the day or meant something, but not as much as, we'd like to think it meant. It's triggering now. There's so many words that are triggering now because they've been weaponized. So before I get started, I want to welcome everyone again. Please, please, please hit subscribe, give me a like, and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm on live. You can catch me live and you can talk to me live. Otherwise, you'll catch the replay and I won't really be here like I am right now. Shout out to the replay, folks. All right, guys, so I wanted to get started. What's up, everybody in the chat? I see y'all. Thank you for being here early. April, Mo, OG Patrice, what's up, Lady Jada LaRue? I see so many ladies in the chat that would be so good for this subject. So when I'm done going 1 through 7, okay, because this is 7 easy tips for submission, okay? And I just said submission is a trigger word, but we're going to take the trigger out of it, right? We're going to take the trigger out of it, okay? And we're going to make it something useful for all of us women. With that said, my advice is also good for LGBTQ. If you are in any relationship where you are the weaker sex or you're in a relationship where someone is more dominant or you want them to be more dominant, then this advice is also for you, okay? It's not, it's not sexual identity specific, right? But it is essential for the feminine, right? Nature in us, whether we're gay or straighter than 6 o'clock, as colorful as the LGBTQ, you need to know that submission is an important part of a relationship. Okay. Now, the word submission, when it's defined, when we look in a dictionary, right, it has a couple of definitions. Submission, like, oh, let me submit this work to you and see if you like it. Let me submit my application. But then there's that ugly side, right, to the word submission that women hate so much, right? It's been weaponized. It's been used against us in every way, shape, or form you could think of. And that definition is obey, right? Give away your power. Who wants to obey like a dog or give away their power, right? Because when we hear give away your power, it means you're powerless. Those two things are synonymous. If I give away my power, I become powerless. So we want to erase that, even though we've been hearing it for damn near like a year on social media, as far as I know, and it's been triggering because it's been weaponized. Let's erase that version of submission, okay? Let's erase that version of submission. I found a definition of submission online related to relationships, and I thought it was very soothing. So I want to read that to you, and you can tell me what you think. But that's the type of submission that I want to talk to you guys about today. Okay. not the triggering submission. We're going to pull the trigger out of submission today, okay? And I'm going to show you how very, very beneficial it is if you are submissive in your relationship, right? And we're talking healthy relationships, right? I'm talking about healthy relationships. I know there's a lot of toxicity out there. I know there are a lot of relationships that are not healthy, that you should not be in. I'm talking about healthy relationships. I've heard women say, what do they mean by submission? Right? And everybody now, unfortunately, has their own definition, especially a lot of these YouTube characters have their own definition, right? Because drama is lucrative, right? So people have their own definitions for things and they make words triggering. But there are some women who are sincerely like, what the hell is submission? What does that mean? What the hell do they mean by submission? Because I'm not giving away my power. I'm not going to obey anybody, right? That's the retort that women have. It's like, I'm not going to, wait a minute. What do you mean submit? To what? To who? Right? We're going to get into that. But let's get into the definition that I found very soothing, right? So submission regarding relationships, and it starts with, like I just said, in healthy relationships. We're talking about healthy. Surprising enough, there are healthy relationships, people, right? If we spend a lot of time on social media, we think that everything is doom and gloom and headed for a divorce or a breakup. Everybody hates each other. The genders can't get along. Women don't understand men. Men don't understand women. And yet here we are, always seeking out a relationship with someone else, right? So we have to start giving some solutions, right? And if not complete solutions, at least ideas to help us get to solutions, right? A little change of thought here and there doesn't hurt in the sea and in the sea of garbage that we see in the cesspool that social media can be. So let me return to the definition. In healthy relationships, keyword healthy, partners are not forced into submission. Submission is an act that is expressed mutually and voluntarily. Being submissive helps to be less self-centered and allows us to consider the desires of others, right? I think that's huge because I think what people do, because they've gone through so much, right? Whether it's trauma from childhood or trauma from bad relationships or just trauma in general, period, just going through life. We're afraid of this word, submission. And we don't consider the desires of others because we walk around with walls and guards. Like we're like, I'm going to consider my desires and what I want and no one else matters. And just a side note, this advice is part my experience and then part what I've seen and then part people that are looking for relationships. Because some people aren't looking for relationships. They don't care, right? It's like whatever. My advice to people that can't bend and be submissive, right, in a relationship is don't look for a relationship. Don't. That's what I would say. A lot of people are in relationships and they're single, right? And it sounds crazy, but there are a lot of single people in relationships. And what do I mean by that? I don't even mean necessarily cheating. I mean, single-minded mentality. It's about me, what I want, what makes me happy, what I want to eat, how I want to dress, but they're partnered with somebody. So that's a single mentality. When you're single, you don't have to think about what the other person wants to eat, what the other person says about what you're wearing, what program they want to see. You don't have to worry about any of that when you're single. The problem is that there are a lot of single people who join other people in a relationship and they remain single mentally, right? So if you are that type of person, be true to yourself, be real to yourself, and don't pull anybody into your single life and your single mentality because it's going to end in disaster, right? To me, relationships are very, very simple. People try to make it complex. We have books talking about it. We have the 5 love languages. Are you one of these? It's not that complicated. People that want to be in relationships act like it. Okay. It is that simple for me. People complicate their own lives because they don't want to be in a relationship, but they get into relationships. They don't want to be lonely, or they want booty on tap, or they want financial security, right? There's so many different reasons why people get in relationships. And when they break apart, what do they say? Well, all men are this. or all women are that. That's why it doesn't work, because men think this way. You know why relationships don't work? Because women think this way, right? That's that. And then we have a sea of people on social media bashing each other back and forth, right? When the reality is the individual doesn't want to be accountable for getting into a relationship knowing damn well they weren't in 100%. That's really the problem with relationships. The problem with relationships is not gender-based, okay? Although people will have you believe it's because women want high-value men and they're only a 2, right? They'll have you believe that. Well, relationships don't work because men are selfish and they cheat all the time. That's why relationships don't work. And then women will have you believe that. But that's really not the case. The case is that there are a lot of broken people. There are a lot of single-minded people that are getting into relationships, and they're not supposed to be in relationships. They're supposed to be healing. They're supposed to be getting therapy. They're supposed to be getting fit. They're supposed to be financially stable on their own, right? But the problem is those people, I'm going to get in a relationship, and I'm going to have that person plug these holes that I have in me. And then when it breaks apart, because it's inevitable, when you're not complete, you get in a relationship, they break apart. What do? You blame the entire gender, right? Instead of holding yourself accountable. And this stuff is hard to do. Holding yourself accountable is hard to do. But I think getting in relationships that fall apart over and over and over and over and wear on your soul is harder. To me, that's a harder, longer, miserable life. Okay? So we have to work on us. Now, I want to get into the submission thing. Ladies. We have to have this conversation. We have to have some girl talk, okay? Because a lot of you are jaded, all right? And a lot of the people you follow on social media are making you more jaded, okay? And I'm talking on both ends. I'm talking about the men that bash women, and I'm also talking about the men that gas women, okay? For every Kevin Samuels, you have a couple Derek Jacksons, and both of them are not good. Both of them are not good equally, because Derek Jackson is not asking you to hold yourself accountable. Okay, he's making it seem like you're not the problem, men are the problem. That's not good for you either. That is called enabling. Okay, so Derek Jackson to me is just as damaging as, say, a Kevin Samuels that a lot of you hate. Okay, so we have to work on us. I'm going to talk about submission regarding us. Thank you so much, Afi. Thank you so much. Ladies, blessings, my sis Jen. Peace and respect to the chat room. Thank you. So, ladies, I am talking to you today. Okay, this is not a panel discussion yet, unless someone wants to come up later on. This is not Mr. Rucker. I can always count on you, man. Mr. Rucker is our resident prenup pusher. He's a prenup pusher. It doesn't matter what the conversation is. He wants prenup in it. Okay, that's another show. So going back to what I said, this is not a panel discussion. We can have that after if someone wants to come up at the end of my 7 submission tips, okay? We're not doing that, but men do it too here today. We're not doing that, okay? We do that on panel discussions. We all come up and argue with each other and say, no, but men, but women. This is about women. This is from a woman to women about submission, period. If you want to talk about how horrible men are, you have to wait for one of my panel discussions. But those discussions, as you know, go nowhere, okay? We all yell at each other. There's no resolve. And they're like, see you tomorrow. There's no resolve. I'm about resolve. So we're going to talk about how women could submit, and it's not an ugly, dirty word, right? And we're talking about submission in healthy relationships, or submission in relationships that were kind of rocky, but submission can help smooth it out and make it better, right? Because we love our guys, right? We love our men, despite what they've put us through in the past. We need men. We love men. We appreciate men. We love their strength, okay? In all ways, shapes, and forms, not just their physical strength. We love them to be head of household. Ladies, if you're going to keep it 100, we love coming to a home where a man is head of household and we feel safe, okay? So let's get into my 7 easy tips for submission. Ladies, it's not the dirty word you think it is. Okay. So let's go to number 1. And I know this episode is going to be a little different for y'all because y'all are so used to the conflict that men and women have. And I want to suggest, okay, to my ladies, these 7 tips. I am not telling you what to do. I am not telling you that I'm better than you and I know more. Okay. I am not telling you that you are less than, low value. You're only a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. All of that's on another channel. Okay, let's resolve. For once, let's resolve. Let's suggest some things. Also, each one teach one. My ladies in the chat, if you have tips on submission, okay, that are not negative in nature, that you think helps relationships, that you've done and you've noticed resulted in a great relationship, by all means, throw them in the chat and I will read them off. Each one teach one, the more the better. But we are going to talk to the women. So let's start at number 1. Number 1 on my list of easy tips. Ladies, I am medicine. Medicine tastes bad, but it fixes you, doesn't it? Doesn't medicine fix you? Yes, it does. So let's start at number 1. I didn't say that you were going to like how this tastes going down, but it is going to make you better. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, your appearance. Your appearance, your appearance, your appearance. Okay, your appearance, your appearance, your appearance. Now, this has nothing to do with weight. You too fat. It has nothing to do with that. Okay. You're too tall. You're too short. Has nothing to do with that. You wear too much makeup. You don't wear enough makeup. Has nothing to do with that. I don't like that color on you. Has nothing to do with that. Appearance is deeper than that. Okay. Appearance is deeper, right? What's on the outside is usually what's on the inside. 9 times out of 10, right? I'm keeping it very simple today because, of course, we can make this nuanced. We can make it because sometimes women feel a certain way and look at. I'm keeping it simple. Okay. Appearance. Men like something lovely to look at. That is the nature of men. They just do. That's why certain women on social media have millions and millions of followers and some don't. Right? Appearance. Men like pretty things, pretty women, right? They like women to look put together, right? So it's not a certain look per se. I think it's more of a feel, right? That's why I say there's a lot of emphasis on women and weight, but I've seen many, many lovely, lovely bigger women, right? So your appearance is important. Okay. Your appearance is important. It is important. And what we do is we say, well, I'm in a relationship. He knows what I can do. He's seen me look cute before. It's whatever. He knows if he takes me out to a party, I'm going to get dimed out. I'm going to look pretty. I don't got to look pretty all the time. It's whatever. He knows what it is. No. Ladies, when you get in a relationship with a man, he doesn't die. He doesn't lose his senses. Men don't lose their senses when they get in relationships, when they get married. They don't lose their sight, touch, taste, and smell. And I think some women think that men get in relationships and they lose their senses. No. If anything, they get enhanced because now he's locked in with one woman. And you know how men feel about that. Oh, panic. Just one woman for the rest of my life. They panic, right? So I think that it would behoove you to understand that men want to come home to something that is attractive to them. Okay? He got with you. He likes you physically. Keep that intact, whatever it was, right? Or try to make it better. Or try to make it even better, right? But you have to keep him interested. And appearance has a lot to do with that. Now, do you have to go run out to Neiman Marcus and get a gown, right? Does everything in your drawer have to be La Perla lingerie? No. It could be something cute like your boy shorts matches your sports bra while you're washing the dishes. This is all very, very simple. This is all very simple. Okay. Your appearance is very important. Do not ignore that. Do not think because that man is in your house and you're like, I do X, Y, and Z for him. He knows what I can do. Surprise him every now and then. Take off the robe, them dusty slippers, okay? Keep your appearance up is very important, okay? Now, we all know, ladies, there's some times where it's like, I feel like crap. I don't want to do anything. Those are times where, of course, he should understand, okay? But if you're not sick, if you're not dying, you have time to put on a little rouge and a little lip gloss and put your hair up in a bun. Okay? Appearance. So let's go to number 2. Hey, what's up, Kim? The up-leveled approach. Ladies, again, if you have your own tips, each one teach one, drop them in the chat. I will read them off. I don't know anything, but I know what I know. Okay? So number 1 is appearance. And I'm going to go through the comments, but I want to concentrate on the tips first, and then I'll kick it with y'all. And if somebody wants to come up, we can talk about it, but I'm telling you right now, this is not going to be a debate, okay? We are helping women understand that submission is not a dirty word. So I want you to come up with tips. And gentlemen, if you come up, we're not talking bad about the ladies. We're just going to talk about what you would like to see regarding submission, okay? That's what we're doing here today on the block. Okay, guys, so number 2, that was appearance. Number 2. Okay, número 2. Número 2, your household duties. I know the ladies are cringing. What are you trying to say? That I gotta cook and clean and do laundry all the time? I got a job. Okay? He gotta understand. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Laundry, cooking, dishes, that's life 101, whether you're single or in a relationship. Nobody cares if you got a job. We all have jobs. Your man has a job. Everybody has a job. Everybody's working. Shout out to my homemakers. Your job is in the home. That's also a job, and that's all you do. Bless your heart, because you don't have to do anything else but that, right? But everybody works, right? Well, I'm not cooking and cleaning all. Here's the thing, ladies. Don't let your mismanagement of time be an excuse to why you can't get to your household duties. Did you hear what I said? Don't let your, right, accountability, don't let your mismanagement of time, okay, be the result of you not getting to your household duties. Household duties, yes, cooking, cleaning, right? Laundry, ironing, right? I am woman, hear me roar. We can do all of that and still love on our man. We really can. We really can. Well, I ain't nobody's slave. No healthy relationships. Remember I said that in the beginning? Healthy relationships. Healthy relationships. Again, the single-minded person in the relationship is a huge issue. I don't mind people that feel like that. I'm not nobody's slave. I don't have to be single. Stay single and be happy in that. Accept that and be happy in that. But don't bring your single-minded ass. I ain't got time to do all that. I got a job. Don't bring that into a relationship. Don't take it into a relationship. Stay single. And you're going to hear me reiterate, do you, but do you by your damn self. Don't put yourself on the market and act like I want a man. And then when you get a man, I work too. So I'm not doing all this house. Stay single and be happy. And don't do the dishes when you don't feel like it. Don't do the laundry when you don't feel like it. Don't dress up when you don't feel like it. Do you? Do you? Right? Household duties. Get them done. Right? With that said, no, you don't have to be Martha Stewart. It's little things that you do in pockets that shows a man that you're putting in effort. right? No one can work in chaos. So the neater you keep your home, the better it is for everyone. It's just a very calming, soothing thing to walk into a home and it is not in a disarray. Okay. Now you can't spick and span every day because we are busy. Times have changed. A lot of homes are two income homes. I get it. I get it. But I tell you this, men are just not built to do certain things that women do very, very easily because we are nurturers and caretakers, right? We feed the babies. So there are certain things that we do. And please stop fronting, okay? I know whenever I've been in a relationship and I tell a guy, clean that, I always have to go in after him to clean it anyway, right? Because they just don't, their minds aren't as meticulous as women are. We can see a stain from like down the block and he'll be like, what stain? That's not, oh, I thought that was a design. It's a freaking stain. I can see it, right? So let's not put that on them. Now, if a man's going to help, great. But let's take care of the household duties, okay? Can we do that? Can we at least keep it neat? Let's keep it neat, okay? It's not going to be perfect every day, but keep it neat, all right? You know you're going to be home before him. Keep it neat, yeah? All right. Let's go to number 3. I'm sure my comments are lighting up right now. I told you, ladies, you're not going to like this. You're not going to like it. But this is some sister girl talk. Okay. Number 3. Your libido. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This one is going to be some really great advice. And some of my regulars have heard me say this before. Your libido. Your libido. Who thinks about libido, girl? I got to get to these chores. I got to pick up the kids from school. I got to pick up the dry cleaning. Got to wax that. My libido, girl, please. I'm stressed. Look at this pile of work I got to do. Libido, what? What? First of all, right? You've heard me say this before. We've conditioned to think that our libido is less than a man's, right? Supposed to be. If you hear your whole life, you're not as sexual as men are, you start believing it, right? Whatever you tell your brain believes. It does, right? So not only are you telling your brain something, but society has been telling you, your family has been telling you, shit, your girlfriends tell you, right? Yep. Sometimes your man tells you, I like sex more than you do, right? Your brain, it's programmed now. Oh, I don't really like sex. I'm a woman. I have a lower sex drive. I'm supposed to. That's what women are supposed to be like. I'm not supposed to be thinking about sex all day long. That's what men do. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Women like it just as much. They're just as sexual. We're just conditioned and programmed to think differently. So let me tell you some things that can help your libido. Fruit, good sleep, avocado, bananas, feeling sexy, taking it back to appearance, okay? When you feel sexy, you get sexual, right? So if you're looking good and feeling good and smelling good and eating right, these are your responsibilities. These are not his responsibilities. Your libido isn't his responsibility. He doesn't do things to turn me on. I just don't know. You think a man needs anything to freaking turn him on? He'll go to Pornhub and be turned on in 2.5 seconds. So your libido isn't his responsibility. It is yours. It is yours, ladies. Get some sleep, unplug, eliminate things that stress you out. If it's your mama on the phone all the time, talk to her once a week instead of 4 or 5 times a week. Okay? Eat right, sleep right, fruits, veggies, exercise. Let me tell you, honey, there is no aphrodisiac like I felt in the world like working out. Your heart is pumping, your blood is pumping. You come home, you look in the mirror, you start seeing results. That's a sexy motherfucker in the mirror, okay? All of that helps your libido, all of that. When that man walks through the door, it's like, you know what I'm saying? But it's your responsibility. Your libido is your responsibility. So if you can take better care of yourself physically and mentally, have your little glass of wine, eat some chocolate, you know what I'm saying? When you look good, you feel good, you're more apt to be a sexual being, which we are. Although everyone tries to tell us that we're not from when we're tiny, 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 right? So your libido is your responsibility, okay? Men like a sexy thing, so you got to keep it sexy, okay? Your libido is your responsibility. So let go of them chains that are on your mind about what women are not supposed to feel or do, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. Let that go, okay? And listen to what I'm saying, because a lot of people take things out of context, okay? I'm not saying go out there, crack your legs, and say, hey, it's a party. I'm saying in your relationship. These are tips for a relationship. You better learn how to let go in your relationship, okay, with your man. Again, healthy relationships. That's what happens in healthy relationships. And I know this sounds crazy, but there are healthy, successful relationships out there. Can you believe it? There really, really are. Although everyone tells us different, there really are, okay? So your libido, your responsibility. Not his, yours. So let's go to number 4. And again, what's up, Jabari? Good to see you, Missy T, April, mwah, Daryl, mwah. Good to see you guys here. Again, I have 1 to 7, and you know I could have went to 20, but I got 1 to 7. And if you guys want to kick it after this, I will drop the link. But again, this is a no bash zone today. You got to catch me on one of my other panels if you want to get in a verbal fisticuffs with me. I know a lot of you guys like it, but that's not what we're doing today. We're talking to the women to improve in relationships, what they can do. Okay. So ladies, if you want to come up or drop tips, you can come up and share the tips with everybody. Gentlemen, if you want to come up and talk about what you'd like to see in a submissive woman without bashing her, I am more than happy to welcome you up. Okay. So let's get to number 4. And please, by all means, drop your tips, because I'm going to scan the comments. So let's go to number 4. Ladies, whoop. Spontaneous sex. Spontaneous sex. If you listen to me for number 3, number 4 shouldn't be a problem. It should not be a problem, right? Men like easy sex. Newsflash, men like easy sex. They do, right? Women complain about foreplay. Yeah, foreplay. Sometimes a man just wants some easy sex. He doesn't want to romance you. He doesn't want to take you to dinner. He doesn't want to eat you for 30 minutes. He doesn't want to watch the chick flick with you. Sometimes he just wants some easy sex. That's why porn is a $1 billion industry, because you just turn it on and he goes right to his favorite part and boom, 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 and it's over and he goes on with his life. Or he's in the shower while you're downstairs, boom, 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 and he goes on with his life, right? Men like easy sex. That's the nature of them, right? They're simple, right? They're not simps or simpletons, but I think they're simple. I think men are simple. They like easy sex. Spontaneous sex is the best. Okay, you have to be spontaneous. It shouldn't always have to be a task. He shouldn't always have to talk you out your panties. Okay, y'all are in a relationship. I think it's your duty. Okay, and I know women are probably cringing. Duty, there goes that word again. It's as bad as submission, but it is your duty, right? And I say it's your duty because we control when sex happens in a relationship. A man can't force you to have sex, right? So we control it, but he wants it, right? And we control it. Spontaneous sex is amazing, okay? You don't have to be, Jenna Jameson, okay? You don't have to be Heather Hunter, okay? You can beat everybody in Pornhub if you're spontaneous with him. Spontaneous, okay? He can be watching the game. It's halftime during the Super Bowl, okay? He could be at his desk catching up on work. He could just be chilling, laying in the bed, watching whatever it is. What do you guys watch? I don't know, race car driving, whatever it is, right? A do-it-yourself how-to home building, whatever he's doing. Spontaneous sex is the best, especially in a relationship People get bored. Men get bored. Women get bored too. But I told you, we're not doing the what men do too thing. This is from a woman for women. Spontaneous sex, very, very important and fun, and keeps him interested and excited and going on about his day. Men, when they are head of household, protectors, providers, right? They have a lot on their mind. And I think it's a misconception because women have so much on their minds. You know how our minds work all day. The wheels never stop. I don't even think the wheels stop when we're sleeping. We're dreaming about shit we got to do, right? We got the kids, we got the laundry, we got the list from 1 to 3 that I spoke about before, right? List, the laundry, our work, our hair, our clothes, our workout plan, how we got to eat, the diet, what he wants to eat, food, this, that. Our minds are constantly working. And I think that we forget that a man's mind is constantly working as well. It's just working in a different way, right? But it's constantly working. He has to keep a whole household running, right? He has to keep us happy. He has to he's always thinking, how do I keep a smile on her face? Happy wife, happy life, right? Like these are things that men think about. So when they have downtime, which is sometimes why they will sit on the couch and watch the game or chill out, and they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to hear the kids running around. They think as much as we do, right? But they just think differently in a different way. But I think women tend to think, oh my God, your life is so easy. You ain't thinking about it as much as I got to think about it. You don't got to do what I got to do. No, they have other pressures and other weight on their shoulders, right? So they don't want to add to that. Oh, I got to wine her and dine her and romance her. And I don't want to eat cooch for half an hour. And I don't, you know what I mean? I'm talking about healthy relationships. Sometimes a man will just appreciate some spontaneous sex. Okay, without the rigmarole of I gotta take you out to dinner, I gotta make a big. I'm talking about long relationships here. I'm not talking about flings. I'm not talking about whirlwind romances. I'm talking about longevity. Okay, if you are in a long relationship, there are certain things, women, that you should be doing. And what's wrong with some spontaneous sex? Why do you always have to think, I gotta shave my legs and my bra and panty gotta match, and I got wait right after I can fit it in before dinner and this? No, wild out sometimes with your man. Wild out sometimes with your man. He will appreciate it. Spontaneous sex. It's amazing. It really is. And I'm sure you guys like number 4. All right, guys. So I see a lot of comments. I'm gonna try to catch up. But like I said, this is medicine. A lot of women are not gonna want to hear it, and I know you guys are gonna have pushback for me. But for once in your damn life, listen. Listen. Okay? I'm not telling you anything wrong. And again, I'm saying this for healthy relationships. I'm not saying this for relationships where you feel slighted or you're jaded or he doesn't deserve that, right? And here's the thing, women. We say a lot of the times, well, if a man is providing X, Y, and Z, I have no problem submitting. I've said it before too, right? He has to have this because I've been in relationships where guys didn't deserve submission. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, ladies. No matter the tax bracket, no matter what a man looks like, right? No matter what he does for you, he wants submission. That's where it gets tricky, right? It doesn't matter whether he's manager at McDonald's or manager or partner at the law firm. It doesn't matter. He still prefers, appreciates, wants a submissive woman. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. The submissive woman will still be more attractive to a man, okay? Now, I'm sorry if you think I'm painting with a broad brush, but I am for the sake of this episode. Because yes, we can find exceptions to the rule. Oh, I know a man that likes a woman to be stronger and bigger and taller than him and punch him in the neck every now and then. Yeah, but you can find the exception for everything. So I'm painting with a broad stroke. A man will always prefer the submissive woman. Okay, that's just how they're built. It's just like we like the strong, you know what I mean, silent provider type. That's how it is. I'm talking about nature right now. I'm not talking about exceptions to the rule. I'm not using my not all some sign today. We're just doing straight talk, okay? So me get off of number 4. Told you these are 7 easy tips. This is not complicated. I don't believe people are as complicated as they claim to be. They're more in denial than complicated. Okay. Oh, thank you, April. April coming with it. Exactly my point. Women shouldn't get involved with a man that she can't be submissive to. And I will confess, April, thank you, my doll, for saying that, because I will confess I've gotten involved with men that I could not be submissive to. And guess what happened? It ended in disaster. Okay. Because I thought not being submissive to him wouldn't be a big deal. Right. I'm like, he's not exactly the type I'd be submissive to. But here's the thing. Again, I say, doesn't matter what tax bracket they're in. Doesn't matter what they look like. They want submission. So all the while I'm thinking, I don't respect you enough to be submissive. That man still wants submission. And that is the mistake women make. So thank you, April. Yes, women shouldn't get involved with a man that she can't be submissive to. Absolutely. So let's go to number 5. What's up, Tristan? Number 5, ego stroking. This is so simple. This is so simple. You want to give your man a shot of dopamine real quick. You want to make him feel good, okay? Ego stroking. And it's so simple. It's just words. It is just words. I told you these are 7 easy tips. I've heard women say, I don't have to tell you. You already know. I don't have to tell you. I'm with you. I don't have to tell you. You know I love you. I don't have to tell you. Your mama tells you all the time. I don't have to tell you. Didn't your cousin tell you that last week? I don't have to tell you. You know. You know. Oh, let me tell you, that is a slow drip of poison on your relationship, because men love having their egos stroked. Okay? And all they need is for someone on the outside to do it. Okay? If you have a man worth any damn, someone on the outside is going to stroke his ego. Okay? That's what smart women do. They stroke egos. And people who are ego stroked are happy people. Okay? And people who want to serve you and give you more of that thing that you're complimenting them about. Okay? This is psychology 101. Stroke that man's ego. Let him know he looks good in that t-shirt. Let him know them jeans are fitting right. Let him know that color blue looks good on him. Okay? Let him know it was amazing how he put that shelf together and you couldn't have done it. Ego stroking. Let him know it was really, really hot the way he handled his 3 friends in a deep debate. Okay? Let him know you love to see him with the children and he's the best father you've ever seen. Ego stroking. Because when a man feels appreciated in his home by his woman, okay, you just put a cape on his back. You want Superman in your house, you have to tell him he's Superman. Okay? Ego stroking, very, very important. And don't act like you don't know what it is, because when you're at your job and your boss is like, hey, such and such, that was great. That report was absolutely awesome, right? How do we feel? Oh my God, I'm special, right? And it's so simple. Feed him love. Stroke his ego. It is not that hard. Again, healthy relationships. Healthy relationships. These are little things that you can do, just little pointers that we forget to do because we get what? The C word, comfortable. Comfortable. Most women are little princesses. Don't matter what, I mean, from the South Bronx to Beverly Hills, women are princesses, right? We think the world revolves around us because I'm the lady and you're supposed to protect me and love me and give me all the flowers and the compliments, right? Most women are princesses. If we admit it, most women are princesses, right? The world revolves around us. And I said, I wanted the chocolate ice cream. What is that, right? So we tend to forget that men love a compliment. that men love having their ego stroked. Men have huge egos. And I'm not talking about people who ego trip. Okay, I'm not talking about those people. I'm not talking about people who have so much ego that their pride gets in the way of everything. Stroke your man's ego. Is it really that hard? Stroke his ego. And you will see, man, words are powerful. Words are powerful. It took absolutely nothing from me. And it didn't interfere with my time, my schedule, the children. It interfered with nothing. My household chores, but it interfered with nothing to say, babe, I love that color on you. I'm gonna go get you another one. I want to see how you look in the yellow one. It took nothing from me. I did that in what was that, like 10 seconds? Did you just heard me say that? Babe, I love that color on you. Oh, wow, look at you. I see the gym. I see what's happening in the gym. I see you. Took nothing from me. And then I'm on my way. But those little things mean a lot. Okay? Ego stroking. Number 5. I'm coming to the end, y'all. I only did 7. I said it's going to be easy. Okay? Number 6. This one is going to kill y'all, ladies. This is going to be hard. This one is going to kill y'all. But please trust your girl. Letting him have the last word. I know. I can hear it from here. I know, ladies. I know how hard it is. I am a woman. When I'm in a debate with a man or a conversation, I am the alpha and the omega. I am the inventor of language. I am the inventor of reason. No one knows more than me in my house. I am the matriarch. All of you are my subordinates. Ladies, I know. Okay. But it's imperative that you let your man have the last word. I don't care if you have to bite your tongue till it bleeds. I don't care if you have to pinch yourself. I don't care if you have to go busy yourself. Let your man have the last word. Healthy relationships. I'm not talking about a man that's abusive. I'm just talking about normal people here today. For once, let's just talk about normal people. Okay? Let your man have the last word. Okay? And what does that look like? Because believe it or not, I've heard again women say, what does submission look like? What are they even talking about? Like, help me help you, guys. What does it look like? You guys are in an argument about his friend. But I think blah, blah, blah. And he did X, Y, and Z. He's like, he's not that bad. Like, you putting too much on it. No, I'm serious. I feel blah, blah, blah. You putting too much on it. Jen, you putting too much on it. Like, leave it alone. Okay. What women do is we go and go and go and go and go till we try to get that man to concede. Right? That's what we go and go and go and go and go. And when he does that, we feel better about ourselves. Yes. I knew I was right and I knew he'd see it my way eventually, right? And that did nothing for him and everything for you. But you won a booby prize, a prize that means nothing, a prize that can be a slow drip in your relationship because you walk away like you won something. But in a relationship, you both have to win in order for it to work, right? And both of you can win. Both of you can win, right? Because you're working together. What happens is you walk away like, see, I knew what I was talking about. I knew he'd see it my way eventually. That man didn't see it your way. He just wanted you to shut the fuck up. He just wanted you to be quiet. And then he went and did what he wanted to do anyway. He went and hung out with his friend anyway. So what you do is, babe, I think that dude is blah, blah, blah. He's kind of, no, I don't think blah, blah, blah. You may not get the result that you're looking for right away at that moment. And women have to be okay with that. I think we press and press and press and press, right? You have to be okay with that. Put it out there. This is what I see. Because I do believe that women do have a better vision on people than men do. Because men aren't, again, they're not that meticulous. They're problem solvers. What's the problem? Let me solve it. Let's move on. Women are more like, no. Because what happened was men don't think that way. So what you do is, this is what I think, blah, 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 blah. Let him think about it. Men don't think as quickly as we do. We're like this. Men are like, I'm chewing. Let me swallow that for a minute, right? Let him have the last word. Let him say, well, I don't think he's that bad. I'm still going to work with him. And you bite your tongue. Like, okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to let you know that that's how I felt. He's like, yeah, well, I'll take care of it. Let him have the last word, right? He is a man. He needs to feel like a man, to behave like a man. If you want him to be a man, you have to follow suit. Let him have the last word. It takes nothing from you. If letting your man having the last word kills you, if it ruins your day, if now you can't even think straight, then you're not even healthy enough to be in a relationship, because a relationship means compromise, right? You want this man to lead. You want him to be head of household. Let him lead. Act like it. Act like it. So even though you may have the better vision, let him have the last word. It helps immensely. Okay? Let him have the last word. You don't go anywhere else in life and force people to be something other than they are. Okay? You don't go to the hair salon and tell the lady, I want you to bake cookies. She'll look at you like you're crazy. She's like, I do hair here. What do you mean you want me to bake cookies? I'm a hairstylist. Therefore, if you want your man to be a man, stop treating him like he's your girlfriend, and stop treating him like he's a child and you have to have the last word. He is your man, not your child, not your girlfriend. Okay, go argue with your girlfriend till you're blue in the face and drink some mimosas if you just want to go back and forth with somebody. Let him have the last word. You will not die. He will feel like the whole man he is. You will move on. Now here's the icing on that, ladies, because it's not all bad. Here's the icing on that. The icing is when it turns out to be like exactly what you said, you can be like, yeah, babe, see, I kind of told you so. And he has to give you props for that, right? But you have to give him the time to digest what you said. Let the outcome be what it is. You put it out there. You warned him. Let him come back. Let him come back. Because now you have two people appreciating each other and working towards letting the other person be what they're supposed to be innately. As women, we're supposed to have the eyes that men don't have. Men don't have that. But with that said, we have to let them be and have the last word, because that's what men do. And that's what men like to do. And then they circle back. Babe, you were right. He wasn't shit. See how you both win? You can both win. I'm telling you, it's a lot more simpler than people make it. Don't get lost on YouTube listening to advice from people that are trying to make money off of hate and pain and trauma. Okay? Somebody had to tell you. So I'm telling you. Now we're getting to the last one. And you ladies are going to be waiting for me outside after this. Y'all are going to kill me. Y'all are going to kill me, but this is number 7. This is the last one in my easy tips, 7 easy tips for submission. Ladies, is not the dirty word you think it is. Submission is not a dirty word. It's a beautiful thing, okay, that could lead to a very healthy relationship. So this is my last tip, okay? Thank you, April. Yes, please hit the like button for me. Por favor. I appreciate you. That's how I pay my bills. Hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this live. I hope you continue to come back. I talk about all sorts of things. This is one that's been on my mind as I surf the YouTube streets. I'm like, come on, nobody's saying it like it's supposed to be said. Let me help my ladies, okay? I will throw down the StreamYard link if any of you want to cam up and tell me what you think. I'll kick it with you for a little while. Gentlemen, if you have some suggestions that you want to give women regarding submission in a nice, healthy, positive way, please feel free to come up. If you'd like to come up and chat with me for a minute. Ladies, I know y'all are dropping some real juicy stuff in the comments. If you want to come up and say it on camera or behind your avatar, you are welcome to do so. I want to talk about how women can submit to men, and it's not a horrible, dirty word, okay? So the more tips, the better. So let's go into number 7. And I think I saved the best for last. I just dropped the StreamYard link if you want to come up with me. I saved the best for last. And number 6 is a segue to this. Letting him lead. Letting him lead. Oh my God, lead me. I've been leading myself since I was a kid, and my mama taught me to be X, Y, and Z, and my daddy taught me to be that. And I had a father. You ain't my father. What? You ain't my boss. I don't care. Nobody leads me. Ladies, let him lead. Letting him lead. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard because we go through so much as women. No one knows more than me, okay? We go through so much. If y'all knew my story, you'd be like, I know women go through hell. I know we have to do a lot of the same things that men have to do in life. And we have to do that cramping. We have to do that on our cycle. We have to do that with a baby on our hip, okay? We have to do that with stress. And we have to do that with being leaders of the I get it. I get it. I get it. But if you're so hell-bent, okay, on being the leader of your life, okay, and your children, leave men alone. Leave them alone. Leave men alone. If you don't want a man that's a leader, if you don't want a man in your house that's going to lead, leave him alone. Leave men alone. Just be single. Learn to love yourself and be alone with yourself, and leave men alone. Leave them alone. But again, I go back to a single mind should be a single individual. Do not go into a relationship where two people are involved, you and another person, with a single mind, because it's going to end in disaster, divorce, child support, child custody. If you are by nature, if you do some soul searching and you're like, hey, I like sex, I like companionship, I don't like partnership. I don't want a man in my house. I don't want to cook. I don't want to clean. I don't want to be under pressure. I don't want to submit. I don't want a man to lead me anywhere. Leave men alone. Leave them alone and deal with them in spurts. Every now and then. Your little booty calls, ex-boyfriends, things like that. But don't expect to be in a relationship with a man and you're not going to let him lead. And I don't care what your tax bracket is. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what a man looks like, feels like, talks like, walks like, or how much money he makes. He's still going to want to lead. He's still going to want to lead. And I hear a lot of women say, well, lead me to what? How can he lead if he's not a leader anywhere else in the world or on the planet? Women say that a lot. Women say that a lot. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of these YouTube streams and I'm like, I'm a little taken aback about how women talk about men. I really, really am. Okay? And if that's your reality and that's your life and that's how you see men, that's fine. But stop inserting yourself in a man's life. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because men want to lead. If it is born with a penis, it wants to lead. People bring up guys in the hood who don't have anything. They don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Guess what? He still wants to lead. It's innate. Now, whether he's leading, his pit bull down the block or he's leading a corporation, he still wants to lead. That is how men are. They want to lead. So I go back to what April said. If you're involved with a man, thank you so much. Involved with a man. If anyone who doesn't know, Ill Doctrine and Tristan, they do this back and forth, simply making it sprinkle and starting simplistically at Tristan. Thank you, Ill Doctrine. They do this with me. Let him lead. Men want to lead. Point blank, period. That's something that you have to get in your head. So if you're with a man, you're like, oh, he can't lead anything. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's going to want to lead. So I want to wrap this up by something that I said earlier. Accountability is so important. Do not confuse this list 1 to 7 with pick me theory or pick me mentalities. What's up, Juana? Come up, girl. Do not confuse my 1 to 7 with pick me theories, ideals, or narratives. Because in my opinion, the pick me is just as damaging as the men that bash women. Because the pick me is just the counterpart to men that bash women. They just enable those men. And they will do anything and say anything to be in a group of men and get a ring. They will marry anything that's moving. They don't care what it is. They just want that ring so they can tell other women, look, I'm married. So do not confuse 1 through 7, what I said, with a pick me. This is for people that are in healthy relationships, healthy marriages, or marriages or relationships that have little chinks in their armor, or for women that just don't know what submission looks like, feels like, or what the results of submission is. That's what this list is for. Okay? Because if you ask me, the pick-me's don't know shit either. They're too hell-bent on, I need a man, so I'm going to say whatever. What are the men saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To hell with these feminists. Who wants to date me? So forget that. So with that said, there they go. Tristan Draper, welcome to my symptom. I am your king, Simp Tristan. You gotta love these guys. I mean, they make my time here so freaking entertaining. Tristan, you already know. Yes, Miss Jada LaRue is backstage. I love that, Jada LaRue. Miss Jada is up to share her thoughts with us. Tristan said, you should copyright this before Kevin Samuels tries to steal your shit. Man, listen, won't be the first or the last time people stole my shit. Miss Jada LaRue.
Hello. How are you guys doing today?
It is so nice to see you, lovely. I love what you're wearing. You always coming with it. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Thank you, hon. I appreciate that. Hello to you and your chatters. What do you call your chatters? Like I call mine the LaRuminati because of LaRue, right?
I call them block stars, my block stars. And actually,
Okay.
King gave them that name, and I loved it. So I was like, yeah, all my block stars are in the building. So I call them my block stars.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Hello to the block stars in the building. Please excuse me. I am not smoking because I'm not a smoker. I'm rarely a drinker, but I'm using Ripple.
What?
So yeah, that I was surprised that King. Well, I wasn't surprised, but I realized that King was using them too when I first met King, and I was like, so I'm not the only one who uses the Ripple. So no, it is not smoking. It is not vaping in a sense. This is all natural. You can use it holistically. And the one that I'm using right now is for boost because I got a live at 8 and I need it because I just got done with one about an hour ago.
Oh, okay. Hey, we working. We are working.
Are
Okay.
we not, honey? Lord
Yeah.
have mercy. So,
Shout out
okay,
to really quickly, shout out to CA. What's up, love? He said you full of it, but at least you look good. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take
if you're
see.
gonna be full of it, baby, be full of what looks good.
I know, that's what I said. Listen, listen. I appreciate the haters. Who else has haters that actually pay? Okay, I ain't mad. This is what I'm talking about. If you listen, this is a beautiful thing. If you're gonna hate on me, at least pay me for it. So shout out to CA. I appreciate you too. Welcome to the chat.
Shout
Whether
out to that because I get cash apps that say I don't like what you said today, but it was a good show. I'd be like, thank you, or you know, at FU Jada, thank you for that $5 FU. Okay, I appreciate that. So
hey, it's all green to me. It is all green. So, Miss Jada LaRue, welcome again, lovely lady. What do you have to say about the submission thing? Because it has been made into such a dirty word. And let me bring Juana up here real quick. Hi.
hello,
Look,
hello.
I'm muted. Hi, y'all. Today's my off day.
Okay.
So she said she got time today.
I got time today. Today's my little off day. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
but we
Okay.
also hear feedback, so you might have a YouTube video in the back.
I don't know. Hold on, let me make sure. Oh yes, it is. Because you know what? I pulled up the YouTube to find the stream line. I'm like, what is that echo?
I'll do the
Okay.
same
Sorry
thing.
about that, y'all.
Thank you, Doctrine.
Look, listen.
Simp type level 1. All other
How
simps are
are
level
you, Jada LaRue? Nice to see
Hello,
you.
hello. Thank you. Same here. Okay, so he said top level angelic simp type level 1. All of the simps are level 2 or lower. Okay, so look, ill
It's
doctrine.
okay.
So, okay, I have a question because I literally thought I was waiting on you to come live. I was waiting. I was like, she must be running late. So I just started doing little stuff, right? And then I realized you're live. I missed the first 5. No, the first 4. I'm sorry. I met it here at number 5. So I missed the first 4. Can you run those for me?
Yes, I can really quickly. Absolutely. One was your appearance. I explained that your appearance is important. Number 2
Okay.
was your household duties, the cooking, the cleaning, making time for it, time management to get those things done. Your libido. Your libido being your responsibility, eating right, sleeping right, de stressing, exercising, all things that enhance your libido. Number 4 was spontaneous sex. Women don't think about spontaneous sex, but it's very, very important for a man who has the weight of the world on his shoulders and doesn't have time or even the mind to romance and do foreplay for an hour like we like, right? Sometimes he's just not in that mind frame, and spontaneous sex is an amazing award for just being a good man, a good husband, a good boyfriend. So that was 1 to 4. Then I got into the ego stroking, letting him have the last word, and letting him lead. So those are the ones that you missed. So what do you
Okay.
think about this whole submission thing with women and why it's become such a dirty word? And it's like when women hear the word submission, they're like, oh, wait a minute now. I'm not obeying anybody. So what do you think about that, Jada?
I think honestly that because women go to church so often or because they were raised in it longer than men were, that when we hear submission, we think that we're submitting to God. So the
Is that me? You just went silent. Is that me?
not it. Do everyone else hear me?
I can hear
I
you
hear
now.
you.
I
Okay.
can.
So, it's like, wow, okay. Because when I talk to women, some of the stuff that you said, I was just like, Jen, that must be
I
how we get
know.
along. We understand. Because submission is like a dirty word to them. There is something, look at the baby. Did we just lose focus? Hello, little baby.
You know women are when they see a baby. It's
Yes,
like, no.
but I don't want any. I just want to return them back when I'm done. Okay. Let me love
Thank
them,
you.
teach them, spoil them, and send them back. So, hello. But okay, so yeah, so I feel like church has done that to women. Some people will disagree. But I really do think that church has done that because whenever I talk to a woman about, well, maybe you just need to submit to him, and they be like, submit? Ain't even the right man to submit to it, then why you with him?
Mm,
Why are you with him? If you have to wait until you're married to him in order to submit to him, then you done failed miserably for whatever time frame you guys have been dating.
right.
That is ridiculous. I hear women that say things like, I'll treat him like that when I get the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you will get that ring if you treating them any less than a man? I don't get the thought process on that. Like, who taught you that? Some of them bitter women that were their mothers, aunts, the ones that are still single and 50, 60, 70 years old, and they still single, talking about they've been living a life and they sitting at home sad and depressed because they're trying to figure out how to pay these bills. But nonetheless, I like everything that you've said. I feel like I've had to say these things to women numerous times since my 20s. So this is not like a Kevin Samuels realization. When you're a woman, and you just either you know or you pick up on it from watching other successful women with men, right? So that is my take on it. I don't want to talk too long on giving a full answer, but that's my take. Thank you for talking about what submission looks like, because it seems to make women go crazy, and I feel like I have to continuously break it down. From now on, I'm just going to be like, sis, I'm sending you to this video by On the Block with Jen. Okay, because she recorded it, all right? I'm tired of talking about it. She done recorded it. She's going to teach y'all how to get it right, okay? So.
For real? I'm like, it's such a, I was like, and I said at the beginning, I'm like, women aren't going to like this video, but I have to do it. I got to do it. And not only because, like you said, it's something that we see, but it's been given the wrong way online for a while now, and we've been letting it slide. And like I said, a lot of these channels are making it worse. They're not making it better. Like, they're breaking people down lower than they were already. And they're twisting words and they're twisting definitions, and the words are being weaponized. And everybody's like, you know what I mean? Everybody's like chicken with their head cut off. It's like, what way do we go? Do I hate you? Do I love you? Do I need a relationship? There's a lot going on. Tristan said in the book of Leviticus, chapter 3, verse 04, let us all simp in the graces of the divine women, as it is power of simp that she receives this tithe. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yes, I enjoy sitting in my divine femininity. Thank you for that. You call it being symbioticus. I like that because, see, I like simple men.
Hey,
Sorry.
Lana,
Not
what do you think?
The reasons why people have a problem with submission, or just kind of your 7, because I love the 7 steps.
Well, first tell us what you think about submission.
I think it's necessary. It's almost, I'm sorry, my baby. I'm upstairs and she going crazy. It's necessary. It's almost something that you can't avoid if you want a successful relationship. I don't think that every man deserves submission, though. I am one of those that I think that it should be an exchange of something that you're bringing to the relationship, and that could be providing. If you don't provide or protect, or you don't do some things, and I don't believe that a woman should automatically submit to her relationship or boyfriend. I think that you have to be selective, because you can submit to the wrong person. And also, if they follow those steps, especially the one where it's like, don't just listen and don't really respond, then they can just get led down a dark alley if they're not submitting to someone who's really, in it for the right reasons. So I think that I think what we do with men a lot is, and I'm glad we just talking to the girlfriends. I know it's some men in the chat, but this is the girlfriends topic.
Yeah, what they saying?
A lot of times what we do with men is we kind of put them on this pedestal, and we act like just because they're men that's what they deserve, but we don't have any expectations for them. And so we teach women to just simply do it because he's a man, and we do not give them any boundaries, and we don't tell them that boundaries are important. And so that's why women get hurt. And that's why when they submit and something bad happens, they're like, see, I submitted, and then look what he did to me. Because you can't just submit without the understanding that boundaries and expectations still need to be set and understood. And you have to have that for yourself. And a lot of women don't have self-esteem or feel that they should have expectations and boundaries in relationships. So that's why I think that some people struggle with it. But when you have a good man, by your side, he's, you know, he doesn't like, my husband's never like told me to submit to him. You know, I just like, you know, I naturally cook. I mean, and I've been with him for 5 years. So I was doing everything that I do now. You know, I mean, it was not like, you know, he was like, after we got married, he was like, it kind of feels the same. Like we just doing the same things that we did before. Cause I mean, I don't know. You have to just kind of have that in your spirit or relationship before you get married. I agree with what Jada said as well. Yeah. So that's my only thing.
I
I
love
feel
what
that. I mean, you got to have worth and standards. So
if there's a gentleman in the chat who wants to come up and talk about what submission looks like to him and why he needs a woman to be submissive, please come up and
Oh, I was gonna say, Jen, you explained it better than men, because first of all, if you ask them what submission, they can't even tell you.
right. I see
Like,
that a
have
lot.
you ever asked a man like, what do you, and they're like, well, just submit like this, submit. Okay, well, what's submit? What does it mean? How do you want it to look? What, explain it to me. Okay, you know, because a lot of women, when they hear that, they just feel like he just wants to dominate over them, and he just wants control. And what you explained was probably what 90% or at least 95% of women do. I guarantee they do it, because you can't be with a real man and not be quiet at some point. He's not going to tolerate you just going back and forth with him. I mean, eventually he's just going to be like, well, you can leave, you know? I mean, it's like, he's not going to keep doing that. So eventually you're going, I mean, I just think some things are naturally things that you're going to do in your relationship.
Yeah, that's why I said, you know, that's why I said I confessed I've gotten in a relationship with people that I knew I wasn't going to submit to. I was like, this guy is not a leader. He's not, but I'm like, but he kind of cute and he's really nice to me and he's supportive of me. So, okay. And then, you know, 6 months down the line, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm the guy in the relationship, but I had to hold myself accountable. I saw it in the beginning. I saw it. But I'm like, his booty was, you know what I'm saying? So I went on ahead.
his booty was what?
His booty was, I'm a booty girl. I like guys with like the football butts. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? He's, you know, but then 6 months down the line, it's like, and I don't think men realize that we don't feel comfortable when we can't submit to a guy, but there is a woman that would even submit to that guy.
That's right.
But
not that you can compete with women if your man's a cheater. I'm serious, Jen. I mean, but these things can prevent that from even being like a problem, right, in the relationship, or it can make a good man sway. Like
I totally agree. Like someone cheating is completely their issue. If we make it a lot, well, what weren't you doing? But that's a conscious decision. So I hate when women blame themselves or when men try to blame them for it. No, cheating is you plan it, you make a conscious decision, I'm going to do this, instead of I'm done with you, I'm gone. Because there's always that choice. And I think people make it sound like that choice doesn't exist. It exists. You can look someone in the eye and say, you don't do it for me anymore, I'm gone. So no, you can't make someone cheat. Nothing you do or don't do can make someone cheat. They do that on their own, right? But like you said, there are things that can sway somebody, that can make someone else outside of the home more appealing than you, because they're catering to, like I said, their ego, or they're appearing to be more submissive. And you don't want that to happen. And not that we should be competing with women on the outside. We should be concentrating on what makes him happy, right? Like he should be concentrating on what makes her happy. But it's like we should be thinking that there are people out there and things happen, right? Yeah, you avoid everything else. You get your car, you get your tires rotated, you check the oil in your car, you know what I'm saying? Check to see if you still have detergent to do laundry. So it's just upkeep. It is just upkeep, right?
I told you, my friends, like for COVID, I was popping up on them like, what are you wearing? Like, you got a whole husband. They like, girl, you dress up. Yes, I dress up all the time. Like, I didn't just dress up because I came to see you, you know.
Right.
But they've been home for 3 years and thinking like, girl, he don't care. I can just wear this jogging pants. No, you look like a bum. Like if I'm your friend and I'm and I'm the friend that's gonna tell them, and they like, thank you for telling me, because and nobody else is coming up. Like, we have to be honest with our girlfriends. Because I was telling my friends, and I think I said it on the platform, and women was like, I don't like to dress up sometimes. Well, if you think you look ugly, you think he think you cute? I mean, you think you look ugly today. You look, you know what I'm saying? He probably like,
you look toe up today. Like you
right.
look worse than somebody who was supposed to have been a cleaning woman coming through there that done, been hit with a tornado. What is you doing, sis? Like,
but
and
I just think the women don't think, but in relationships, healthy relationships, because I am not talking about those men who use submission as a control factor, dominance, and really have no idea what it means to have a submission woman, don't even know how to treat a woman that is submissive and feminine. So they say,
just don't know how to treat a woman, period. Sorry to cut you off.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, you can interrupt when you say something that's like, whatever, girl, right? We
have a gentleman backstage. This would be interesting.
All right, come on up.
Come on through. Who is this? Tristan? Oh Lord, not Tristan.
Hello, Tristan.
I don't know who that is.
So hopeful.
Hey, Tristan.
Oh.
Hey, what's up?
Wait, I'm sorry. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Eso Hopeful.
Oh, I thought you said.
I thought it was Eso.
I saw Tristan on the thing.
Okay.
I thought it was Tristan.
Oh,
no, I'm sorry. I'm totally confused. Like, I don't know who Tristan is.
Yeah. Eso Hopeful.
Right,
Either one.
You was like, wait, is that Tristan?
Yeah. All right.
Nah.
So what? Have you heard the entire stream? Or you jumped in late?
I jumped in on the part where you was like, if any guys want to come up and what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, as far as for
run them
submission,
numbers down for him there, so he know what we talking about over here.
Right.
you said, y'all already on number 7. What was the first 6?
Did you listen to the show? Because
he jumped in mad.
He just walked in.
I'm like,
he just walked in.
He about to drop some knowledge on submission, and
I just walked
don't
in.
even know what they
But
are.
I mean, I've heard.
He saw 3 beautiful women, and he saw Jen say, "Hit the link if you
like,
want to come up here." He was like,
I'll come up there.
Exactly.
She gonna submit to me. She looking for a man to submit to.
Okay, but you know what? Better late than never. I'm gonna pose a question. Juana said earlier that, first of all, this stream is about submission. I'm giving advice to women of why it's good to submit to men, right? In healthy relationships, not just submit to be submitting, but I also said even men that are not worthy or deemed worthy of submission want submission. Okay, that's just, if you're born with a penis, you want your woman to submit. Juana said most men don't even know what submission is supposed to look like, feel like, or what it actually is. So maybe you can tell us, being the gentleman on the panel, what does submission look like to you?
Like, I feel like, as far as for whether it be, man or woman, it's not necessarily just cut and dry the same thing for everyone. I feel like if you, are, I guess, what you would call a dominant female or something like that, right? You want your man to kind of cater to what you want. Same thing for a man. If I'm a dominant man, then what I say is what goes. You know what I mean? In whatever instance. So it's like, say, for instance, if I say, in the bedroom, right? Which is more than likely easy for a woman to submit, because that if, if the D don't get up, then it's no fucking going on anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, pretty much you got to know, okay, I got to be a snake charmer. I got to know how to get it, you know what I mean? How I want it. So if you know from just that going forward with everything else in the relationship, then it's going to be easy. Like, oh, he likes, the bread, toasted. He like the whatever he want the ends cut off, or, however, whatever it is, what he likes. So you do that. That's, that's submission to me. That's you, been into his will, what he wants. Same thing for him, for you. Oh, she likes me to open her door for her. She likes for me to, she wants me to, make sure I check her tires and check all that man shit that she knows I'm gonna do, like take the trash out, all that. She don't have to ask for that. That's something that's going to happen because of my role as a dominant man, as the male in the relationship. So I guess when it comes to these topics, I'd be wondering how nuanced can it get? Like with LGBT, you know what I mean? When you start getting into that, like you both women, how do you know who's going to be what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but
the funny thing is, I mentioned that very, very early on in the beginning because it can apply to LGBTQ because there is always a dominant person, right? It's not equal femininity or equal masculinity. Even in LGBT, you got a bottom, and the bottom wants to be the bottom, right? You can't have the bottom acting like the top. So it's like, it applies across.
I guess if y'all both tops, then y'all both submitting to each other all day, every day.
Exactly. Because that's what I'm saying. Just because I'm the one with the muscles, you know what I mean? Like that don't mean, oh, I'm the manly one. Sometimes in a relationship, the littlest girl, it'll be a small chick and she's got the fiercest bark, or she'll have people thinking she runs the relationship. And so
I think
so much, L. Nixon. Thank you. I tried yellow. Yellow is not my color because I'm like, I feel like it does nothing. But I was like, I'm gonna do a different color today. Ill Doctrine. She's amazing. Animes, a lady and a labyrinth with many doors and corridors and a palace behind her eyes where there are flowers. Her heart beats and calls out to me, simp, simp, simp.
Yeah, because he don't mind being called a simp. He's like, praise to the simps. I feel like the simps, I agree with him to a certain degree. Like,
I mean, I'm the same way.
Women need to treat simps better because, like, they actually want you and like respect you and love you. So I'm all for the simps.
That's the
power
thing.
to the simps.
Most women want a simp, and hopefully, like they,
I don't even think they're simps. I'm only using that term because that's what like real beta men.
Right. But
they say they
are.
alpha. They say they alpha, but I call them beta men. That's what beta men say is simp. So I only use it because beta men say that. I think the real alpha men are simps. That's what I think.
I think, you know what? I saw a video like that and he explained it very, very well. It was a man talking about an alpha actually has the characteristics of what people think a simp is.
That's right.
But I've said it before too. Men cater to women because they're after women, right? Straight men.
Like my husband, he does everything in our home. Like I don't really know how stuff runs because he does all of that. Like as far as like making sure the bills are paid, or if it's upgrades, it's like people just come over. They're like, "Oh, I'm doing the bathrooms now." Like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like he had asked me for like decoration tips, but he already paid for it and stuff. So maybe he's just like whatever. So
I want to ask.
So like, go ahead. I was gonna say. So I always like think about him because he always thinks about the family. So I'll always surprise him with stuff, and he is like, he loves it. He always say he don't want me to get him stuff, but I do it anyway, right? And he always like be so shocked that I remembered that he wanted something or whatever, right? So I think it's just stuff like that you can do, right? Throughout the relationship.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. That's why I said these are 7 easy tips. It's little things. It's not as big as people make it sound on social media. Ill Doctrine. I just want to know, was that off the top? Did you just make that off the top? Because I'm like, then he's a battle rapper. Let me ask you,
a poet.
Right.
Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like there is no way this person is going to submit? I'm out of here. And what did that look like?
Yes, it's sometimes where, like, I guess, so it started out where it was like, I would ask, certain things, like, and she would do something different, like where it would be like, oh, I thought you might like that. You know what I mean? No, I already asked for what I like. If you know what I mean, if you don't know how to do it, you don't want to do it, then tell me that. Don't have me thinking I'm getting what I want, and then you come with something else. You get what I'm saying? Like,
wait, I need an example. Like
all right. For example, right?
I told you what I like. It wasn't that.
Right. Yeah. Like, for example, it's like, okay, real small. I like for my you know what I'm saying, chicken to be extra crispy or whatever, bacon extra crispy, right? You know what I'm saying? Things like that, right? If you try and give me some flimsy bacon, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, yo, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she was mad at you. She's like, "This he gonna eat this
right? Like,
bacon."
oh,
The scraggly thin
no, I've
microwave
tried it.
bacon.
Just because I say I would like it this way doesn't mean I haven't tried it another way. I've tried it another way.
Men are y'all are so simple. It's so funny.
Simple.
Oh my God.
Real
y'all
simple.
just want like
They're simple too.
And I think women be thinking y'all want something deep when y'all say submission. It be like he just wants you to give him sex when he want it. Like it be something simple like that. And I be like, oh, okay, that's submission. Cool. I'll do that.
So wait, I did say that men were simple because I was agreeing with you, saying like, yes, men are so simple. And then I thought about it like, wait, men are simple. Boys are very difficult.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Boys are very difficult. They have no idea what they want. You can give them what they want, and they still don't know what they.
Right.
Yes.
But if you're still in that phase of finding out what you want, you gotta, try different things. And I get where women would feel like, oh, let me let you try this because you might like that. You know what I mean? Like,
are you married? I was asking, are you married or?
Oh no, divorce.
No.
But
that's fine.
I feel like it's one of those things that you gotta know. Okay, you know what? He wants this. I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's the best example for submission. Just
you sound like a married man, right? Or you sound like a man. That's why I asked, because I was like, you sound like a man who's either you want to be married one day. Because
I feel like everybody should go through it at least once. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. He sounds like I'm like, yeah, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, I'm going.
I'm good. Right. I'm good.
right.
Was reasonable.
I brought the t-shirt twice, I guess. So I
you already
don't want to buy the t-shirt no more. I think I'm done with the t-shirt after this
exactly.
time. I just want to
I'm battle tested. I already got my scars. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Nancy, mucho amor, Quinita. So good to see you here, guys. What's up, Vaughn? Let's see what Tristan got for me. He said, book of the simp, David, chapter 2, verses 23, may it not be the alpha, omega, or beta, but the simp who is the provider.
To
the divine woman. All hail the simps. Can I get an amen?
So
I get an amen.
I cannot stand him.
Amen to that.
Thank you, Jen, for having me on. I am, I'm cooking actually.
Go ahead.
I'm doing my wifely duty.
I know that's right.
But I'm cooking, so I was like, I'm gonna step in and just, get my opinion. Great show. Yeah, exactly. Great show. Love you guys.
Nice talking to you, Mana.
Nice to meet you. Alrighty.
Thank you, Mana.
Okay, nice to meet you, Man.
Hey, we had somebody backstage, but I don't know. It says device not connected, James. So if you wanted to share something, Tristan is nuts. What would I do without Tristan? Oh my God. Let me tell you, me and Tristan go way back. Way back.
Tristan, you gotta write this book down, yo. I gotta read this Bible you got, this Simp Bible, yo.
I am loving this Simviticus. It is awesome. Did you write the book? Come on now.
Write a simp Bible. I'm telling you, it was sell.
It was sell. I'm telling you, it was sell. Now, I think most men, they don't realize that if you in a marriage, like you gotta be a simp for your wife. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the life you chose. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Do you see? Mr. Rucker says, "Do what you're told to do." First of all, I can't take you serious. You misspelled your. So come back later. Like your grandma.
Women love grandma.
Mr. Rucker.
With
how you gonna give instruction and give it with?
Black man
unfiltered.
Thank you for the
he
super
said,
chat.
I'm capping.
Not only he's like, you're capping, but he's coming to get you in a minute.
Yeah, hop up, man. I love all the smoke. You already know. Like, shoot, if you decide you want to be a provider for a woman, you got to know that comes with a whole lifestyle, my friend. It's not just, you know what I'm saying? It ain't just
A
bubble
whole
baths and
lifestyle.
why, you signed up for the all year package, day to day package, live in package. You get what I'm saying?
Friend.
You could try living apart if you want. Somebody go school be rubbing her feet. You know what I'm saying?
Now you got me curious, Issa. You sound reasonable. You understand submission isn't, it's not tyrannical.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get divorced?
Oh man, see, that's the thing. If you ever are one of those guys who used to, I'm doing for my woman and she don't got to lift a finger, you know what I'm saying? What you need to know is before you sign, whatever paperwork, you should know that she will do for you if you need it. And it's certain women who are not going to, if I signed up for the princess package, I need to be a princess all the time. What you mean? I need to help? No. So yeah, I mean, it happens. You know what I'm saying? So I was down on my luck, and I can't fault her for jumping ship. You know what I'm saying? Is if Jen, you know what it is. If you're a beautiful woman like you are, right? You used to somebody taking care of you, right? So I didn't be like, look, I can't take care of you like I was, boo. But look, help. You know what I mean? If you can help me cook these ramen, I don't cook ramen. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing the ramen. You can actually go get some steak over here. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like you got to choose each other every day.
What's funny is I just had ramen noodles last night and I was talking to somebody and I said, oh my goodness. I said, listen, don't shame me. I literally went to the store to get these for some strange reason. I made shrimp, seasoning, everything just to eat these noodles. And I don't know why, but I was very sick throughout the middle of the night. I was like, my lifestyle, my health lifestyle said no.
I love me some ramen. Ill doctrine. Oh my God. I feel like I get these are little love notes. She is a quick kiss when our noses and foreheads touch. It's a quiet kiss. And though the sound is barely loud, a soft breath, its echo rages and manifests my sim. I mean,
now that's deep. Hey, that's what you gotta do. You gotta do the snap. For real.
Listen, what he's saying is that you have kissed his mind without even having to do so with your lips.
Right.
Shout out to that man.
Who has a better chat than me? Welcome, James. Welcome.
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on?
OG, Patrice, and James. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen?
Hey.
You.
So, Jen,
Y'all looking good on the panel, ladies. Y'all looking good. The gentleman's looking handsome too.
Oh, why? Thank you.
Yeah.
The men are looking good today.
How much have you guys heard James and OG Patrice? Did you come in late or you got the gist of it?
I heard the entire thing.
Awesome. Okay.
So did I.
Okay. So y'all are ready to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, ladies first here on the block with Jen. So OG Patrice, what you got for us today? I know it's gonna be good.
No, I mean your talking points, those 7 was definitely on point. I just would have added compromise to it as a part of submission and selflessness. I think that a lot of women have to get out of themselves sometimes, when they're submitting to a man, and also be willing to compromise and meet him at least halfway. And sometimes we can be, stubborn and stuck in our ways in a lot of things. And men will definitely find it difficult to communicate with a woman that's not willing to compromise if she's pretty much hard-headed and stuck in her ways and be like, no, it's, she wanted pretty much to just be her way all the time, sort of like my way or the highway type of mentality. You can definitely lose a man fast with that. That'll turn him off. So yeah, definitely compromise and some selflessness.
Agree. James,
So I'm gonna go back to I'm sorry, the young lady in the middle, LaRonda,
Jada LaRue.
Jada
Oh,
LaRue.
me?
Okay,
Okay,
I
hello.
won't forget that now. Jada,
Thank
when you talked about the women mostly going to church and finding submission in church, and you hearing that submission is connected with God, but I think it goes back even further than that. When you have hundreds of years of women being subservient to men, based on culture, not just religion, culture, and everything else. I think there's this thing of like, you know, we remember the times of our grandparents, like that era where, in order to survive, women got married. So this idea, oh, it's less marriage today because you had to get married to survive. And you look at those times, and for most women, you're thinking, okay, submission has been bastardized so much that we can't really connect it to anything because we haven't seen anything other than oppression, bastardization of it. And so we have to come up with our own rules, and we have to find something that works. And for like, I'm married, so, and my wife, if you heard her and you talk with her, you would know she's from the south side of Chicago, grew up in the projects, because she can be rough, right?
you.
She can be rough. But I also know there are times where I have a certain way that I want to do things, and I know when she's backing off. I can just tell that right now she wants to do it her way, but she's backing off. And I'm going to do it my way, but then I'm going to kind of respect and see. Let me go back to her and see what did she want to do, and see if I can incorporate some of that in my decision, because otherwise I will hear it when it blows up in my face, right? If it goes wrong, and typically, mm, she's more 80% right. She's often more right than wrong. But sometimes I just need to do it my way, fuck it. And she'll just hold it over my head. But if I go back and incorporate a little something into it, she's not as apt to kind of beat me over the head with it. But I we know each other, and we respect each other, and we have some self-awareness where I know when she's backing off, and I know at times where I need to just back off of this. Like, this is something she wants, let me back off. And that's how we do things. You have to work, and just what the other young lady said, you have to compromise. But the word submission has a problem because history of women is a problem.
What do you
Okay,
mean
so
by
here,
women as a problem?
The history of how women have been treated over the centuries.
Okay.
You
right.
know, there, you have this long history. If you go through um, the everywhere around the world,
Mhm.
you have this long history where it's the same thing with Black people, right? When people start talking about, oh, things were so good back in the days, and you're thinking, well, not for Black people. You know, you go back to 1930. Oh, our parents were all married in the 1930s. They were all married. It's like, well, they couldn't work. They couldn't even have bank accounts. They couldn't. You know, it's and so you're trying to compare these eras and use this word from 2,000 years that's problematic. And so we have to find a way to discuss this without ignoring the historical context in which that word comes with. And we have to deal with that. And once we deal with that part of it and acknowledge it, that, hey, we're not talking about this. We're talking about what Jen just came up, her 7 things. We're talking about this. This is submission. This is what it looks like. And if we can get that to that place where it's healthy, where we're treating each other as human beings, as adults, I think then we can go through the process of saying, okay, when someone says submission, everyone knows what they're talking about, and it doesn't look like the Taliban.
Ooh. Jabari Bryant says they did work though. What is he talking about? Can you elaborate, Jabari? Because I don't know. I don't know what part.
Now I'm talking about the 1930s. No, it's when we're talking about when you go back, let's go back before the 40s. When you are talking about labor laws and women in the workforce, it was a different time. It was not the same as it was now. We can say there were doctors and lawyers, there were teachers, women were teachers back then, but we are not talking about the same era. It does not look like it looks today. It's not even close. Black people were doctors and lawyers back in the 30s. Doesn't look like it was today. You could not go back and say, hey, how things were in the 30s, that somehow we have not evolved into a better society than it was back then for women, for blacks, for for a lot of people who were oppressed before the 1940s. When at the beginning of the World War II, there's a separation of how women were treated in the workforce prior to World War II and after World War II. That's just a fact. I mean, just because we can find segments of the population that did okay doesn't mean that the era itself was not problematic, and it was.
I can agree with that. I think that's fair. That's a fair point. I can agree with that. It's definitely not the same like it used to be for women. So the word submission has evolved, but we're in a weird time now where it's devolving as well, because they're turning it. It's like we've evolved, right? We've advanced, but now the way submission is being spoken about on YouTube specifically, it's almost like they're trying to make submission the way it was back then, the necessity it was back then, which is strange to me.
Yeah. Stop listening to Fresh to Fit, guys, and you'll be okay.
Indeed. Commercial break from Tristan Draper. Thank you. MLK, I have a dream that women submit, not because she's settling and not because she's weak, but because she got a simp. I have a dream. Thank you, Tristan. So if Jabari, okay, he said we are definitely better off. I don't know. Jabari, do you want to come up? Jabari, come up if you want to explain exactly what you're saying, because I think he had a fair point.
I think he has a bit of a point too. I would agree with that. I'd be interested in hearing his thoughts, but I will have to catch it on the replay. I have to get ready to go because I have a live that starts at 8. So I will have to run and do that. But
that's like that for a date or something. I thought you were about to go out.
Oh no, honey, I just wore
Okay, I
this
see
today.
what Jabari is saying. Let me just,
I just wore this today, and it was to not to my doctor's appointment, but I wore this to my doctor's appointment as well.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. See, you don't need a special occasion to dress up.
No.
That's in one of my 7 easy tips.
Yes, it was, and I
Jada,
loved it.
Honey, Jada going to the doctor looking like that, you must be trying to get the doctor. Okay, not get cured. You trying to get the doctor.
Okay.
Listen, I like a certain caliber of men, okay? And it's not just like if he's a doctor or whatever, but I like a certain caliber of man. So because of that, this is what I do on the daily. And you never know where you might meet that man at. It might not be the doctor, but it might be the guy that's there for an emergency, and he might own a whole company that can do me so right. So,
I know,
I'm prepared at every point of the day.
Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
You ain't got to get ready.
That's right.
What if there's an emergency at my house and, firefighters got to come, the police got to come? Oh, thank you for rescuing me. Oh my God, thank you.
I'm talking about intention.
The damsel in distress. The damsel in distress still works right today.
Always.
I am not going to be sitting up there with a do-rag and bonnets and holes in my shorts and raggedy shirts on when they come see me. Oh, no, baby. And this feels good. Allow me to say that this feels good. It's not just for a man. This just feels good. It feels good to look good on the daily. Okay, so shout out to everybody that is in here. Thank you guys for the compliments. Thank you guys who agree with me. Thank for you guys who have been giving me feedback on stuff that I have said. Like the sir down there. Thank you. I appreciate those words as well because you have a point. So I thank you for that. Mr. James, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moderator, can you
Oh,
drop her link in the chat if you could?
oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes,
So
please.
I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate you guys for your time, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you, Jada.
Bye.
What's your channel name?
Jada LaRue. That is JADA. By doing
Oops.
Can we hear Jada?
you.
She fell off a little bit.
Can you hear it?
Go ahead, Jada. Say it again.
Okay, so you can find me at youtube.com/Jada LaRue. That is youtube.com/JADALARUE.
All right.
And Loverboy Lenski just dropped it in the chat as well. Please follow Jada. Thank you, Jada. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. See you guys later. Y'all probably gonna be up by the time I get done with my live. All right, bye.
So we have
Yeah.
Jabari. Jabari came up, and maybe Jabari can clarify a little bit. I didn't want to misinterpret what you were saying, Jabari, so I'd rather you say it. We can't hear you.
Hey, sorry.
Okay.
I have to apologize because I'm working and I'm here with my brother, and we're kind of. How you doing?
Hello, brother.
We're kind of kicking it a little while I work. I was trying to get clarity because I didn't hear everything he said. I heard some of the points he was making after the fact, and the facts just don't align. Like, the fact is, things changed for white women after the 1940s. Things didn't change for blacks and Latino women until after the Great Society in the 1960s, because black and Latino women always worked in this country, and they always worked the jobs that they had to work. But still, the black family was intact. Those 7 points that you gave at the beginning were just the way. They were the way when minority families, male and female, worked. This is before the Asians became the model minority. Their women were working. So to say that something changed at that point doesn't align with the facts. Things didn't change in the minority community until the 1960s, when this Great Society came and Lyndon Baines Johnson said to get social welfare programs, the man couldn't be in the house. And that's when you saw the shift in the dynamic from what women provided to men. That's when the change happened. That's when minority women started saying, I don't need men. Now, if you want to look at when white women started saying that, that was the 19-teens and the 1920s during the women's liberation, the first women's liberation movement, during what we call now, in our retrospection, the suffrage movement. That's when upper middle class and rich white women wanted the right to vote everywhere. And I say that everywhere because women were allowed to vote in places like Ohio, Pennsylvania. They were allowed to vote in a lot of the places on the West that came into the country after 1900. But that's when the women's suffrage movement started. And that's when white women started bucking on white men. Minority women didn't start treating their men different until the 1960s. And before the 1960s, 1964 in particular, blacks if you look at the stats, blacks had more nuclear families than any other group in the country, followed by Latinos. If you look at the statistics in 2021, which are the most recent, 2020, the most recent available, blacks and Latinos have flipped it, and they're at the bottom in the most nuclear families. Now, if you want to look at what's also happened during that time period, you're talking about the rise of crime, you're talking about the rise of gangs, you're talking about the rise of all of these problems, you're talking about the issues between men and women in these communities. I just didn't understand the point you were making when you look at the numbers, when you don't, throw out all of the individual, I'm sorry, I had a couple of drinks. I don't like to come online when I've had a couple of drinks, but I had a couple of drinks. When you throw out your individual observations, and when you look at the statistics across the board, I just was trying to get his point. I was trying to gain clarity in his point, because the premise that it was based on was slightly flawed. And I'll shut up and I'll just listen.
Okay. Yeah. So my premise was not to break it down from demographics like that. So we understand. So I'm just talking. I'm doing an overview of just women and men relationship in general, not being specific to black men, black women, or white men, white women, because the same would be true if I were, and I was about to say it, but I know in the Middle East, the dynamics are different still. And for black people, the dynamics were still a little different because we still have the civil rights movement to go through. And the fact of the matter is that we were in all of these unskilled labor jobs prior to that. So black women were working, they were teachers, they were working in homes. And a lot of times they had to, because if you look at the unemployment rate of black men in that time, it was double the rate of white men, and it's always been that case. So for black people, we have always been in this era of survival. So we've always worked, we've always hustled, we've always tried to do whatever we can. But the overall trajectory of women men relationship, and when we're talking about in the word of submission, what I'm saying is that even still back then, there were some problems with those relationships as well. Although they were married, there were some issues going in there. And because we know, man, our granddaddies were Rolling Stones, they had kids all over the place. So there's some things going on there. But for the most part, still, if you look at it overall, and if you look at the history of how women have been treated throughout history, it has been a subservient role. Okay.
Can I interject?
The survival of so the survival thing, I think that's where the problem is that we have this issue. The issue we're having with the word submission is because we have this long history of women being in subservient roles. Now, black women in this country, their history is slightly different, but it is still the dynamics are still there.
Yeah, I gotta agree and disagree. Because it's, yes, you know what I'm saying, basics is still there. Yes, the roles of being subservient is still there, but it's also the black men who are taking on subservient roles, and that's because of we have more women are making more money. We have more women who are doing for themselves and having to take that lead role. We have had a lot of single mothers, and you know what I'm saying, who had to take that lead role. And what we have is a generation of not just men, but women also, who were raised by a strong woman, with them seeing that woman can do it. That, you know, that subservience was them playing a role and allowing their men to lead. It's like if we both all in a car, and mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, dad driving and dad is lost. He don't stop and ask for no directions or nothing. And for the longest time, the woman has just, all right, we just gonna keep driving. But now it's no, mom's driving, and she's gonna look at the map. She's gonna ask some directions, and we're gonna get there faster. And it's not to say that, you know what I'm saying, the men couldn't do that. It's that they're realizing, oh shoot, why didn't I just ask for directions?
Yeah, I think the thing is that all of this debating back and forth of men and women and submission and all of this stuff, it really comes down to this. I mean, we're men, right? We know what we need to do. We're just it's not hard to just get up and
just do it.
Start
right?
off and being responsible, just being a responsible human, right? Get your bills paid, make sure the taxes are paid, freaking walking to cleaning the damn dogs, which I have to do in a few minutes here. I mean, it's these things that we just have to do. You know, you have to build yourself. One of the things I stress most to, especially for black men, is that human capital development is your number one mission, right? Develop yourself, build up your skills, build up your capacity to go through this country and transition as fast as the technology will change. That's what we're here to do. This is what we do. And then in the meantime, take care of home. It's that simple. I mean, I'm looking at my father. My father didn't make a third of the money that I make, and he raised 8 kids. It's been so.
I would
What's
agree
the
with
excuse
that.
for us?
I would agree with that because back then the families were larger. My mom come from a family of 10 and the men were leaders and somehow they made it work. I think that, and it wasn't even and I don't understand why the word is even like being said. It was just a thing you did. It was automatic. The man was the leader of the household and the women followed suit. If the man was a great leader, great father, great role model, great husband, and the family was healthy, the woman automatically went into the role of submission. It wasn't anything that was a discussion. So for it to even be a discussion now, which I know is problematic because everything's so modern, different time, different era, but they look at it as women were, back then subservient, and now they're saying, I'm getting the bag, I'm educated, so why should I have to?
Mm-hmm.
May I?
That's the question now, which it should not even have to be a question. So that is the problem with women, that they need to really get educated on what true submission is, in the sense of some of the talking points that Jen had just gave, and even the things that I have, because you can see more of the modern women being a little bit more selfish. That's why I definitely put selflessness in there, and I put compromise, because a lot of times the younger generation of these women that is so educated and making more money a lot of times than the men, they don't want to. They do struggle with that or have a problem with that. So, this show is definitely something good that I would suggest that they come take a look at and have the conversation. Start having the conversations with other older women in their families that are in and has been in that role for years, like an auntie or a grandmother, or someone older, just an older woman. And I think that that's missing too, that young women don't do that anymore. Like, they don't go to the older women in their families for the most part a lot of times and have those conversations. When they see an older married woman in their family that's already in that role and been in that role for years, and say, how are you making your marriage work? What is submission for you? And having those conversations. I'm just not seeing that happen.
May I? I don't want to get into the discussion going on in the chat, because to me that's a construct of revisionist history, much in the same way as the loss caused by Southern whites. I won't get into that. I will say, to the conversation going on the panel, I don't disagree with you guys in principle. I mean, let me make that clear. I don't disagree in principle. I think that there were roles. I think that those roles transcend every period except now. And I think that those roles resurfaced during the recent pandemic, because in the end, we go back to gender roles are in place, and the roles in the family are in place because of our primal nature. And I understand that we have modern luxuries, modern technologies. They say that a poor person today lives better than a king did 1,000 years ago, and that's true. Life expectancy is even longer. You'd have to go back to ancient Egypt, to be honest, to find a period where people theoretically lived better than they do. Well, even royalty lived better than regular people do today. I just think that I think that where we miss out, where we drop the ball, is when we try to make excuses for why things were the way they were, instead of just understanding why things were the way that they were. 11,000 years of human history on this planet, let's say civilization on this planet, whether you go back to ancient Sumer or the Yangtze and Yellow River societies in China, 11,000 years, give or take. And those roles have been in place for a reason. The things that Jen said weren't revolutionary. Those things that she said go back all the way through those 11,000 years. I think what we ignore is the fact that I put this comment in earlier, when a woman displays those traits, a man reciprocates with similar actions. If my parents have been married for 45, 46 years, when my mom does for my dad, but my dad does for my mom feels obligated to do for my dad. As a result of that, my dad feels obligated to do for my mom. My dad will clean up, even though my mom is like, I got to keep my house clean. My dad will burn food. I won't call what he does cooking. I won't call that cooking, but my dad will burn food or will make us sick with what he puts in a pot. He'll do that when my mom can't. It's not that if you choose the right person, and I think that's something that gets left out of this, and I constantly go back to families chose partners as much as people chose your partner back in the day. As much as you chose your partner, your family chose your partner for you. They helped, they assisted, they had a role. And as a result, when you gave certain behaviors, like the ones that Jen mentioned, those were reciprocated. And because they were reciprocated, you gave more. And as a result, they gave more. That's how a person who made a third or a quarter, my parents made a fraction of what I made. And it was two of them. And they raised, what was it, 7, 8 of us? Sorry, my brother's here. 7, 8 of us. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that worked.
Yeah, but let's
that's how that worked.
I want to be science. Yeah, we should be clear about something though. When we tell people, men and women, you can work on yourself and be that type of person, right? And be this, but you have to make sure that you have to select the right person as well. So as a woman, you can't just be out there for every single man, just submitting every time you meet a man and thinking that because you're doing this, he's going to reciprocate. He may not be that type of dude. You have to have some self-awareness and at least some common sense to say, this is not the type of man who would appreciate this type of woman. Let me move on. Same thing with the man. It is, if you're going to be a certain way because you think this is what men should do. Jabari, just like your father and my father, same lines. They do what needs to be done. So when I'm getting ready to deal with a woman, what kind of woman am I going to wife? I'm not going to wife a woman who can't reciprocate that energy. So there's some self-awareness and stuff. There's some responsibility that we have in our selection process. And I think that's part of the problem that we have, because we just kind of get in the looks, the IG model, let me go hit her up, DM her, she hop, and you get caught up in everything else except for, hey, let's deal with character. Let's deal with the type of person you are and be self-aware of who you are. If I'm the type of guy that wants to run the street, hey, let me deal with women who can match that. So I agree with you that yes, as a woman, what Jen was said, pretty straightforward. I had no problems with anything she said. I think it's pretty straightforward, common sense. But as a woman then too, you have to be aware that that energy that you're putting out for this submissive energy is not for everyone. It's not for everyone. It's one of those things. I tell my nieces, it is, I want you to imagine some person walk into your house for the very first time, walk in your kitchen, open your refrigerator, and make a sandwich. You would look at them like they're crazy. You must have lost your damn mind. You're going to just walk in my house first time here and just help yourself to a sandwich. Now, if you feel that way about someone coming in your house making a sandwich, how should you feel about someone coming into your body? Shouldn't that be even more? So And men, we have to be the same way. Although, you know, let's be honest. When you're young, I'm not going to get on a young dude for going out there slinging around and stuff like that, because I did it. What the hell? But you do have to grow out of that, because let's face it, no matter what our dick does, it has no impact on what type of man we really are. Your dick is living on Mars. We're on Earth. So
I wanted to say, I totally agree with you. I think, unfortunately, it's trial and error for women because we're raised and conditioned to be submissive. So we enter into these relationships with men that aren't worthy of someone being totally submissive. And I confess that I've been in relationships where it's like, hey, I'm here to submit and be the type of woman men love to be with. And it was to my detriment. Like, being submissive was futile in those situations. So I think it's something, unfortunately, that we, sometimes there aren't warning signs, sometimes there are, and we ignore them. But every time I've done the submission thing with men that I didn't deem worthy, it always broke apart. So I agree with you that we have to vet, we have to be more aware that it's not just we have one mission and it's to be submissive to a man. So I agree with you that we have to be more self-aware and more aware of what we want and what we don't want. I wanted to ask Jabari, though, since we're on the subject of submission today and why it's a dirty word today, what do you think is the difference between now and then?
I think the biggest difference is I always have to be careful what I say in these panels because of my job, because of my business. I don't ever want anything to do in this fake world to affect the real world for me.
Right.
But I think a lot of it is chasing other people. I think it's chasing other people. I've seen in the chat people say we can't compare ourselves to white people. Well, a lot of the issues we have, a lot of these problems that we're allowing to creep into our community are white people problems. I mean, and I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. I'm having a conversation in the chat. It's the victim mentality. Blacks never saw themselves as victims through the history of this country. We were engaged in warfare. We were at war. Soldiers don't consider themselves victims even when they lose battles. You're fighting. You don't stop fighting because you've lost a battle. You keep fighting. We were fighters. And this whole victim mentality is something that we're embracing now. White women consider themselves victims. I mean, let's just look historically through this country. White women have considered themselves victims. Everybody else fought. Everybody else fought and continued to fight. And when you claim victimhood, you embrace something that you aren't. And when we talk about submission, to me, it comes across the same way. Understanding gender roles, understanding the roles that have made humanity work, what we call civilization work for 11,000 years, changing them is a little idiotic just because you have new technology, just because you have an air conditioner in your house, just because you don't have to farm, you can go to Kroger's and buy, or Publix or Food Line and buy your food, or Costco. Trying to change human nature, trying to change what we are, what we've been, and saying, oh, well, I don't have to submit to you. Well, we all submit to each other. The same way that women submit, and that's why I gave the example that I did, the same way that women submit to men submit to women. There are areas where men just concede to women. And ladies, if you don't have a man that ever takes down to you, leave his, I was about to cut, sorry. I know it's hard. I know you monetize now, Jen. I don't want to, that's money. But leave him. Like, because if you're with a guy and you are that submissive, what we call good woman, and the guy doesn't recognize that, you chose the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. Let's just put it out there. You chose the wrong guy. And I think one of the ladies said it earlier, and she was right. If you can't see yourself submitting to the man you're with, then you are with the wrong man. Or you're with a boy. And that's still your fault. Yep. We have to take accountability.
I agree. That's why I spoke about accountability earlier. I totally agree. We have to look at how we contributed to that situation that we didn't want to be in versus breaking up and then blaming an entire gender for your decisions. I want to welcome Black Man Unfiltered and Tristan. Okay.
King Simp in the building.
Our resident comic relief. Thank you so much, Tristan, for being here. Black Man Unfiltered, I want to give you the opportunity to add to what you've heard so far, since we heard from the other gentlemen. Unless OG, you have a word for us before I let Black Man Unfiltered go. Okay, OG is good. So Black Man.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'll listen to the gentleman, then I'll make maybe some comments behind them.
Okay, thank you, OG. Black Man Unfiltered, welcome to On the Block with Jen. What say you?
What's going on? What's going on? Thank you for having me. So, I see my brother up there. We joke around a lot. He's so hopeful, and big simp right there. But anyway, so no, I wanted to come on in and address the what the young man was saying in the corner. I don't see anybody. I can't see anybody's name. So, when he said we have gotten away from it, and I think that a lot of what he said was true. But we can't put it all in a broad stroke of that it's everyone, that it's all, that women back in the day went through this and they went through that and they had to be married because they couldn't work. But we're not remembering that Black men had to go out to war. And while Black men were at war, women had to work. They had to pay the bills. They had to make sure the house was taken care of because the Black men were off at war. But I will say this, everybody should have a role. There should not be two penises in one house. There should be something that the man does. There should be something that the woman does. There should be things that the man can make decisions about. There should be the consideration of the wife and what she feels and what she thinks, right? So we can't keep, playing this thing like, oh, the women should be equal to the men. Now it can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And women play a huge role in marriage, huge role in their families. And so I wanted to address when the young man was talking about, the things that women went through over the years. I've seen these marriages in my circle growing up in South Louisiana, in the South, right? So I see these, my grandmother and my grandfather married for 68 years, right? And I sit down and listen to the stories. Grandma, what happened? Was granddaddy a fool? Yeah, he was a fool for a couple of years. He was stupid. No, he made mistakes, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I saw what they built. I saw that they bought land and rental property and they have generational wealth. I watched these things happen over the years. So some marriages didn't work, but women were not just dependent on men back then. They wanted to be married. They wanted to have husbands. They wanted to have children. They wanted to have different things. And they knew that together they were better together. Now the world is telling us, or the system or whatever you want to call it is telling us, women, you don't need these men. We got your back. We're going to take care of you. Well, you don't need a man anymore. You be independent. Woman first, man second now. He's no longer needed. We have women even talking about, I'm not going to say the word because you're monetized now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to talk about what she, say the word she said, but we have women on these platforms saying, delete all black boys.
Who's saying that?
Delete them. Get them out of here. They don't need to be here. Get rid of them. They're trash. What? And her words was, we don't need them. If you don't, you don't want a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Oh, well, if you find out you're having one, delete it.
Oh, what? She's on YouTube?
Yes, and not demonetized or anything. She can say what she want to say.
Yeah.
And so when you hear women saying those things like that right now, and then you have women in the comments. That's the part I was getting to. Women in the comments, a lady in the comments, just go look at it. You just hope you can find it. I wish you the screenshot and send it to you. But there was a woman in the comments and I find out what I'm having in 2 weeks. If I am having a boy, will you guys that have organized, will you guys help me delete it?
Wow.
She told her, join the Patreon, join our group. We'll talk behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, wait, are you saying, Jabari and Black Man Unfiltered, are you saying that women didn't marry for survival back in the day?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
That's not what I'm saying. Some women did because we can't put everybody in one bowl together. Some women did, some women did not. So like I said, I've sat down. I'm going to do a show with just older couples one day. I'm going to try to get them together. But there's women that say, listen, I wanted a husband. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have children. I wanted to have a legacy of my children. right? I knew that black men and black women were better together, right? We had to be there for each other. And my grandmother and grandfather was an example of that. To see 68 years, that's damn near 7 decades with one person. You know, and so just to see that, my grandmother, you know, were you dependent on him, grandma? No. We depend on each other. My grandmother said, I pressed hair for 25 cents. Oh man, somebody got a big ass pit bull somewhere. But
Dog, you gotta mute.
so no, she said that I pressed hair. I pressed hair, women's hair for 25 cents a head. She said I sold out of the chicken coop. I sold dozens of eggs for 50 cents a dozen while your grandfather had nothing. Right? They had nothing. So she was depending on a man that was not working in the field anymore, that had nothing. Then my grandfather went on to go to the pipeline, worked 30 years there. She ended up being a dietary nurse at a hospital over the food. And then they grew and they bought land and they bought properties and rental property. I mean, it's just amazing to see what they did. It was amazing.
Because there are women today who are still marrying for survival. What about women that were being married off to certain men, you know what I mean, of certain influence at a very young age for survival?
Right. And you know,
But
some
you know
women,
what?
hold on, some women are being made, some women, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. Some women are looking for sponsors. They don't, that's what they're looking for. I'm looking for sponsors. I'm looking for a sponsor. And now most women are survival.
What do you mean by a sponsor? Because I know the words change over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking for someone that, because if you go down your timeline on any social media site, you see these women talking like this. I'm looking for a man that can come into my life and that can take care of me and my 3 kids. I know I have 3 kids and 2 baby daddies, but listen, it doesn't matter what I did in my past. I want a man to come in, rub my feet, take care of me, love me unconditionally, do everything for me. I don't want to work. I want to sit at home. When he comes home, I want to give him great sex. I'm going to be all up. I'm going to give him the best sex of his life. And then when you add that, she wants to sponsor. But then when you ask her, what do you bring to the table? What can you give me that I can't buy for myself? Then you can hear a rat pissing on a cotton ball. It's quiet. So that's what looking for a sponsor. Now, a woman that is being forced into it, which today in today's time, that's rough. You know, I don't like that. But most women want to be married. Some of them do. You know, some of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I think most people want to be married.
Right.
I apologize. My dog is acting stupid. But most people want to be married. And again, I always say you have to travel. You have to travel. You have to read. You have to get out. Those are things that as groups we don't do enough of. Even if you do it, I feel like even I can do more. We have to travel more. We have to read more. We have to expose ourselves to more. Because around the world, people still want to be married. Because I don't care how much money you have. Men marry for need as well. Men marry for need. You need to, I don't want to use the word procreate, but men can't have babies by themselves. Men can't pass their names on without a woman. And how you pass your name on, what you leave behind. Because, you know, my dad tells me this all the time because Jen knows. I don't know. Most of the other people don't know. I'm not married and I don't have kids. My dad says all the time, 50 years after you die, the only people that'll be there to change the flowers on your grave, to say prayers for you, are your descendants. Your descendants. So you have to leave something other than wealth behind, something other than a business behind, because you'll be forgotten. And you know, that's a horrible reality, but that's been the reality for 11,000 years. So I think it's a little short-sighted of men and in our society today to say that men don't need women for marriage, or men don't need women the same way women need men. Men see, somebody posted, men provide the peace in a woman's life and women provide the peace in a man's life. She's not a piece of the man's life. She provides peace in that man's life. And I think we've gotten away from that. I think if you go back as far as there is, back to ancient Sumer, back to ancient China, you know, there's always been this desire to find someone that you're compatible with. You know, I'm not saying the only person you have sex with. That's not the way it was, obviously, throughout history. But it was someone you were compatible with. somebody whose family was on par with yours. I know that that's a horrible way to, by our standards, to look at it, but somebody whose family was on par with yours, somebody whose values were on par with yours, and you coupled up and you passed on knowledge. You passed on the things that you acquired, wealth. That's how it was done. And it was even done by poor people. That's why we still know stories. That's why we still know the stories of what happened to great grandmama, great granddaddy, because we passed on that knowledge. And I think we've gotten away from that in its desire to chase other people's idea. When I say other people, other cultures' idea of what's going to make us happy. I'll back off again.
You know, here's the thing about marriage, though. It's constant work. I had a discussion with my wife a couple of days ago, and she was upset with a couple of things that I did, and we talked about it. And some of the things I did, I kind of knew I was acting a certain way, and then she just kind of called me on it, and I did apologize because I was funny in a certain sense, but it's constant working, and it's constant, like you said. I mean, we don't have children, but we're building this life together, right? And it's a life that is far better than when I was single, just by what she brings to the table and what I do, and we're building this life, and we're just going through this journey together, and we're doing the best we can with it. You know, we're 11 years in, and this is what we're doing. And so when I hear people talk about marriage is going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be what you make it. It's going to be you two building together, figuring each other out, and making it work. And you're going to, yes, there are gender roles. I don't go to the grocery store. I hate it. And when I do go to the grocery store, I'm complaining the entire time.
Me too, bro.
So I'm complaining the entire time. And my wife is just looking at me like, I'm going to break your neck when we get to the car because you've just been yelling this entire time. And so it's that.
What's up, Lucky Beauty?
When we go on vacations, it's like we plan budgets for vacation and everything like that. And before I know it, it's all on my credit card. It's like you haven't contributed anything to this vacation. So we do these things. We have these idiosyncrasies that we work with, but I think that's what you do. You just have to, for women and for men. I mean, I tell young men, don't rush into this. Know yourself, figure yourself out, and once you figure yourself out, you'll pick right. You'll be good at selecting a wife, right? And for the same thing for young women, don't rush into this. Don't think in college, before you graduate college, you have to have clinged on to somebody. So when you graduate, you're already a wife. Don't do that. Figure yourself out. Know yourself. And when you know yourself, you will select better, because this is not hard. I mean, we've talked about my father, my grandparents, they were together for 60 some odd years. My father's been married. Well, they divorced when I was young, but my stepmother and my stepfather, they were married for over most of my life. And my father's still married to my stepmom. It's not easy. And so whatever you do, you're not going to make yourself into a wife. You're going to make yourself into a human who's self-aware, who's mature. And this thing about independence, I mean, really, you should be able to take care of yourself. So whatever that means, take care of yourself. Have some capacity, have some human capital that you can live on, that you can build on. But this is not going to be an easy journey, even when everything is right. Two people love each other, is perfect. Everything is hunky-dory. All it takes is for just one little hiccup and your life is off to something else. And you want to know, something happens to this person. They get sick. They debilitated. Are you willing to walk through that hell with them? Because there have been occasions in my marriage where we've had to walk through hell. Okay. So all the gender roles, all this stuff about submission, everything like that, when hell is at your door and you got to go through it and you don't have any choice, you want to know, can this family walk through it together? That's what, when Jabari's talking about his grandparents, the brother who just came on talk about his parents in Louisiana, the grandparents in Louisiana, that's what they did. There have been points and times in their lives when they had to walk through hell and they had no choice. You either go together or you go apart. It's one or the other, and they chose to go together. That's what you're going to have to do. So my thing is know yourself, and then select properly.
Can I respond to the discipline you talked about earlier as well?
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry, OG. OG, what's up, girl?
Hey, I just want to say, yeah, I agree with what the brother above me just said. Also, and even the word he used, the words. What do you bring to the table? Those are even trigger words for some women, right?
Mhm.
But we have to admit that there are things that we need to bring into relationships and into marriages, whatever that is that fits. It's not a one size fit all. It's whatever fits for you and your mate, that person. And it don't necessarily have to look like money or education. It can look like, look, if can you be patient, patient while I stay home and you finish school, or it could look like nourishing. I need you, to nourish the children. It could look like anything, but we have to bring something to the table. So, but I think these words are so triggering for the younger generation because they have not had good examples of being molded to be women, being molded to be wives. Back then, in those times, women were, because, like for me, at my age, it started in my home first. I had to, help my mom set the table. We served my dad and my brothers. We set the table. We sat down. We had conversation. Nowadays, these things are not happening. And that was literally serving the men in the house was a way of kind of molding the girls to prepare them to do the same thing for their husbands, their mates. And you just don't see that anymore. So then when a man when in the conversation, and I don't even know if these words are even being in real conversations, like somebody literally asking somebody, what do you bring to the table? But okay, let's say they did. It's whatever your worth is. Whatever your worth is in that marriage is what you bring to it. And if the man is okay with it and the woman is okay with it, then roll with it, whatever that looks like. It's not a one size fit all. It's whatever fits your situation.
I don't think people that say that phrase are ready or built for relationships. I'm gonna be honest. When people say, "What are you bringing to the table?" I mean, you're already going in with what I feel is I don't know. It sounds like bitterness. It sounds like entitlement. And everybody is so different. Like you said, OG Patrice, like some person may need somebody who just is going to take care of their kids. Another person may need someone who's financially stable. Another person may need, listen, I travel a lot. Can you keep my home for me while I'm not home? So there's so many different needs that people have. I think certain words like, what do you bring to the table? And submission are trigger words. And now we're living in a time where men are acting like they don't need women and women are acting like they don't need men. So where are we going to end up when we absolutely do need each other? Unless, like I said, way 2 hours ago, you're a single-minded person and you like being alone and you don't care for coupling with anybody or being in a relationship or a marriage. But most people, the majority of the people, want to be in a relationship or a marriage. And how are you going into that? Like today, somebody will say, the Black Man Unfiltered said, these women are looking for a sponsor. Back in the day, that would have been described as a protector provider, right? Fast forward, now it's like you just want a sponsor. Way before, even before protector provider, it was like women were marrying their daughters off to these men with, like I said, titles and money and kingdoms. right? So it's like, I feel like every generation is changing it, but it's not changing for the better. It's divisive. It's becoming more and more divisive. It's not what I can give to you. It's like, what can you give to me?
I think, well, and let me say something to that. I think when men are saying, what do you bring to the table? They're only speaking to those women that are requesting something that is enormous. So let me explain. If a woman comes to me and says, listen, Black Men Unfiltered, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. You need to make this. You need to look like this. I request this. I want this. And then, and I, in return, I'm like, okay, great. I can provide those things. However, what is it that you bring to the table, babe? What are you gonna bring to my life? Because back in the day, like you just said, you had a great point. When you said back in the day, that would have been something different. It would have been, you know, a man being a protector and a provider. You're absolutely correct. My grandmother did it. So she was married to my grandfather, and there was a protector and a provider. But what my granddad did, he poured into my grandmother his resources. My grandmother took those resources and built a kingdom with it. Now you take that today. Now fast forward to today. Most women, not all, but if you take that today and if you pour all your resources into a woman in 2021 today, and you see what happens. See what happens. She's gonna have a separate bank account somewhere. You're not gonna know nothing about. She's gonna take 10% off the top. Is she gonna buy land? Is she gonna buy rental property? Is she gonna build with the money, or she's gonna go out and buy Louis Vuitton with her girlfriends, or take a week's vacation to the Bahamas? You see, so the women their mindsets are different than they were back then. Back then, they were like, what can we build? What can we buy? What can we keep for years? What can we pass down to our children? Today, we're living in a moment. Back then, those women were crock pots. Today, these women are microwaves. I want it now. I want it quick. I want it fast. And I don't care about your ass.
Okay. Let me, Jim, is that you in the bottom one as a GIF?
Sound bitter, man.
Yeah. I'm just laughing at Jen's this not all at the bottom the guy.
Yeah, I saw that too. Not all. Some. I just noticed that. It's like, wait a minute, that's Jen down there.
Well, it confused me for a second. I was like, what? Why am I in the box? Wait a minute, I'm not wearing red. Like Tristan does this to me.
Tristan is the comedian.
Thankfully, I was saying, Black Man Unfiltered, that's not gender specific though, because now we live in an age where men are like, I don't date anymore because I may not like her, so I take her for coffee. So that's what I'm saying.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where are we going to end up? It's divisive across the board. It's divisive across the board. I'm like, before I even can get a word out, I don't take women out. I just do drinks. I'm like,
yeah.
Drink. Like,
but you know what that is? Honestly, Jen, you know what it is? It's a phase.
Yep.
And if you look throughout history, there's always been phases. There's always been periods. You can go to they call the boy lovers. That's what the Spartans called the Athenians. You can go all throughout where men said, oh, in Athens, the men were, we prefer the company of men. We prefer women are only for procreation. Yeah. How'd that work out for them? Mm-hmm. Those are phases that don't last. And this is a phase. And the problem is we can't see beyond right now. I think that's the biggest problem with our society when you put it in its historical perspective. I think the brother just said, we're a microwave culture. We want everything right now, today. We want it right now, today. Exactly. People don't respect the process. Before I went full-time into my business, I used to coach high school football. A couple other sports, but football is my primary sport. And the biggest problem was you'd have a kid who had some talent. Notice that I say some talent. Nobody's as talented as kids think they are today. But you'd have a kid who had some talent who would think that he was an All-American or he'd think he was All-Pro. And they wouldn't respect the process that it takes to play college football, the process that it takes once you're in college to play pro football, the process to remain in the NFL once you get there. Talent only takes you so far, and it's not always the most talented guys who have the longest careers or the most prosperous careers. And I think you can really take that lesson and spread it across any career path, any field that you go into, if you don't respect the process, if you don't respect the journey that it takes to reach the destination, you will not reap the benefits of that destination. You'll still be upset. You see people all the time, wealthy people committing suicide. New money. I hate to say it, you know, that's the bourgeoisie, the new money. You fight because you think that this wealth will make you happy. It's not the wealth that makes you happy. It's looking back on the journey and seeing what you've accomplished that makes you happy. That's why with less money and more struggle, people were happier. If you look at, there's surveys done all over the world, people are more miserable than they've ever been. People are more miserable today than they were during the Great Depression. Let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Black people are more upset than they were during the Great Depression, and we didn't have anything before. Right. Let that set in.
So how can we? I'm afraid though that because of, like Simon Hectic mentioned in the chat, information age. I'm afraid that it's not a phase. With
it's
all
not.
We've never lived in a society where it's like everything is at a click of a button. So do you really think this is a phase and people are going to go back to normal? I think it's going to get worse.
It will, but there'll be a reset. I mean, there's always, bro, I'm telling you, it's going to be a painful reset, but there will be a reset. The same way that the Roaring 20s led to the Depression of the 30s, the same way that the conservatism of the 1950s led to the 1960s, and we'll call it whatever it was. The same way the 60s and 70s led to the conservatism of the 80s. You'll always have a reset. And if you pay attention, each reset gets more painful than the one before.
Okay, so
the next reset is going to be super painful. But go ahead.
Back on that, because let me push back on that. All right, Tristan, I love Tristan, so let me push back on that.
Boy, Shannon Sharp.
Boy, Shannon Sharp. Skip. But no, I just want to push back on that because I agree with Jen. I really do. I think it's not gonna. It's going to get worse before it ever gets better, because in 1930, 1940, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990, 1995, right? You didn't have a woman at the push of a button. Right now, you can look at women that's in Vietnam. You can look at women that's in on the islands. You can look at women are all around the world and say, you know what? I don't have to put up with this over here. I don't want to date women here, right? That's why you have different organizations like SYSBM, right? Save Yourself Black Men, right? You know what they're about. If you don't know what they're about, look them up. You know, you have these guys, these groups called the Passport Bros, where all they do is travel for their wives. They don't want domestic women. They don't want the Western civilized woman. You know, and they travel, and these men make good money. They travel, and they go over and meet their Vietnamese wife, or they go and meet their Puerto Rican wife, or they go and you know, and they find these women. So I don't think that it's never going to go back to be the same, because now, and then also you got people, talking about it now. So back in the day, you had your uncles at the barbecue saying, you know, man, my wife, you know, she's just not doing right, man. She's just, you know, she ain't like she used to be, man. I married her. She's 124. Now she's, she's 444. I'm tired, man. Now you got Kevin Samuels every day. How much do you weigh? Fellas, look here, fellas. You don't have to do that. You don't have to put up with her. It's 14 women to every one man. And you got some guy at the house sitting his lazy boy like, you know what? He right.
But you know what? May I push back? And I'm going to use purely historical references.
What's going to happen? I feel like
purely historical references. Watch this. At the end of at the end of what we call the 7 Years' War, at the end of the 7 Years' War, you had a mass decrease of the number of men on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So men were at an advantage. Men were like, I don't have to select any woman. I don't need just any woman. You go back before, you go to the plague. Because people don't realize that the plague hit North Africa as well.
Yes, sir.
As far as Saharan Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So you had this dramatic decrease in the number of people. A lot of men died. You had the same thing. Men said, I don't have to select just any woman. I can choose the women I want. You had World War II. In World War II, worldwide, if you include the civilian casualties, you're talking about 40 or 50 million men died compared to like 8 or 9 million women died. So again, you have what seemed to be this massive imbalance. To today, you go to mainland China, where they were aborting girls and keeping boys. So you would say, okay, we have this.
Well, you can't say that word, bro. You can't say that word, the A word.
Yeah, you can't say that on.
You can't say that word, bro. You got to say delete or something. You don't want to get demonetized.
Okay. I forgot what age we live in.
Right. You can't say nothing no more.
Which goes back to which again strengthens my point that this stuff is cyclical. It's a cycle. And the problem for us as the people who are living through this, I always say we have the best and the worst, because Jen and I are the same age. We have the best and the worst. We existed in a time before the personal computer, before the smartphone. So we know what it's like to go outside and play. Jen knows what it is to go on the stoop. I know what it is to go down to the creek. I mean, it's just what it is. I grew up in South Georgia, so we know what it is to play outside, to have an imagination, but we're also living through this massive technology age. And as odd as it sounds, as unlikely as it sounds, there will be a reset. It will be harsh. Every reset has been harsh. And this one will probably be one of the worst. It'll probably be one of the worst, but something will balance things back out. And, we got a taste of that. You're going to laugh. Everybody on the panel is going to laugh, because when COVID hit and all of these MGTOW losers, God love them, when all of them men going their own way, when you really didn't have no options, you saw a lot of that stuff shut up. All of these super, I call them feminazis, and that y'all gonna make me lose my business because my filter's down and my screen door is open. All these feminazis were looking for a man.
Yep, winter's coming.
Say it again.
Winter's coming.
Game of Thrones, baby. Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
And this winter will be the longest one in memory.
Yes.
As he said all through the show. Winter is coming. And when it does, men are gonna realize, hey, I like something soft next to lay next to when times are hard. Women are gonna realize I need someone who can defend me, somebody stable. And I don't mean financial. See, that's another thing. We began to conflate financial success with success, and they're not the same. Right. Just like a brother I was having a conversation with in the chat, we talked about victimhood. We weren't victims. We were fighters. We were in a war. We were in a war. And just because the war is changing now doesn't mean we ever stopped being in a war. We were warriors. My descendants were warriors. You know how I know your descendants were warriors? Because you're still here. Victims lie down. We never lied. We never laid down. We always fought. There will be a reset. It will be painful, and the strong will survive.
Can I say this though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Crystal ball is cloudy.
I think the brothers, when they say that it's going to be harder for this reset, because I think when you look at how much access we have and the information we have, I mean, I'm fighting constantly misinformation on just simple things, right? But the technology, and I'm going to bring this metaverse into it because I'm on a panel of instructional designers designing for the metaverse. And we're looking at it right now because we're looking and saying, this thing is coming. It is going to change. How will it change? Because it's going to have a huge impact. And I think for relationships, there are some people who can't really deal with the real world, will have this fake world to even suck, this more immersive world to suck into. So I think there's a segment of the population that we are going to lose deeper.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think so.
But I think what has to happen is that, one, I think there will have to be a point where people say, you know what, let's disconnect, because we've been in this little fake world, and what Jen likes to call the blue hamster wheel of Facebook, right? At some point you have to disconnect from that and realize that's not real. All of these conversations, and this is why I don't like the fresh to fit guys, because what they're talking about is not real.
Yep.
This thing that, I mean, we've had this conversation. People are going to kind of like look at us like, wait a minute, this conversation is way too deep because we're disagreeing on some things. We're pushing back on other things, but it's still a conversation. And and we're just saying, I kind of disagree with you on that. I agree, but we're having a real conversation. And I think the only way for to reset to happen is for people to start having real conversations, not keeping it real, but real conversation.
Real conversation. I love it.
Tristan,
Love
why did you say you disagree about people are gonna fall deeper into it?
Well, we can go by just the pandemic, right? After a while, people get bored. That whole metaverse thing, it's gonna come and go because people are gonna get bored and people are gonna want to go outside.
No, sir.
I don't see it.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Read the stats, bro.
Right,
read the stats. No, I agree with Tristan. Read the stats.
Right.
And given the opportunity to exist in euphoria online or to struggle in the real world, the vast majority, I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 80% of people surveyed said they would rather live in the real world than struggle.
Let me say this real quick. Do anybody on the panel remember a movie called Demolition Man? Do you remember that?
Shout out to Wesley Snipes.
Shout out to Wesley Snipes.
Yes, I was just talking about that yesterday because of a documentary I saw. Yes.
Yes, and on that movie, you saw where him and Sandra Bullock walked into a room together. He thought he was finna get him some. And she put the helmet on and he put one on and she took him for a virtual ride. Remember?
Yes.
And he couldn't even believe. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. This almost felt real. That's what the metaverse is going to do to people. And I don't want you to say something. I want you to listen. Look at all the weird ass people that's out here right now. All these weird people that like different things that they can't go out and do publicly. And you can go into your home and do those weird things without being judged and nobody's saying nothing about you or to you about it. You can create your own universe where if you, and I ain't gonna say the word, but we know the P word. If you want to create a universe for that, you want to create a universe for men or women, midgets or whatever, you can go and create this universe and you can live in it every day. It's weird people out here doing it right now secretly. Yes. What's happening when it happens where they can do it publicly?
But here's the thing that you have to understand about the metaverse. There is this virtual world that's separate from the real world, but there is going to be this mixed reality. And I work in industrial robots. And for us, the metaverse is this pass-through. You need to learn this robot. The technology transitions much faster. The metaverse allows me to get you there faster because now when I make a change to this robot, it's immediate. When you put up your screen to the robot, I can look and see, okay, you need to change this, this, and this. There's going to be this mixed reality that people are going to exist in. That for my side of it, I'm looking at increasing the capacity of people to learn and learn faster. That's what I'm thinking of it. But there is another side to it where we're talking about human nature being human nature. It is going to stick.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is right now we're kind of like this is the first iPhone. We're right here right now.
Well, already
going. But
already, if I just may interject right quick, Jen, because I'm gonna get ready to leave, go down. There's already a lawsuit from a lady now that went into the metaverse and she was SA'd in the metaverse, and she's already filed the lawsuit. So I do agree that it's going to get worse before it gets better, and what the better is going to look like is never going to, what we had back then is never going to be anymore. It's going to be an absolute new world order. Even after the worst, it's never going to be the same again. It's going to be different. I just want to say that. I'm going to go down in the chat. I have to go, but I enjoyed this conversation. You guys are cooking up here. Continue to do so. Jen, thank you so much.
Hey, Jen, leave that right there. Leave that right there, because that's my boy, Big Bad Bull. Big Bad Bull, I don't know if you're in the tech world or not, bro. I don't know if you're in the tech world or not.
Can I say something real quick before you go? Because you know more than me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say this, and just a little sidebar. I was watching a documentary yesterday on technology, and I really don't think it's ever going back to normal. I don't think this is a phase. Like,
what's the name of it? I want to watch it. What's the name of it?
Yeah, it's on Hulu. And I didn't, you know how you watch one documentary and it keeps going? So I don't think it's the name. I don't know the name yet. So they were talking about, like, even with pedophilia, there are so many millions of people right now, right? Being pedophiles, right? And they were saying that the technology is getting so good that they have just the authorities have just a couple more years to catch people doing it before they can't catch them anymore.
Yes.
Technology is getting so, they said the technology is getting so, and the coding is getting so, and the words that they're using to hide pedophiles, it's too advanced. And they're like, every time they do something, the pedophiles remix and they remix, and these organizations are big and they're advanced. So they said they literally have just a couple more years before they can't even find them online anymore. And speaking of Demolition Man, they showed where now you can attach a penis to a joystick and your girlfriend will have it in Istanbul and you'll have the joystick in Russia, and now you can have sex with her and he moves the joystick and it moves the penis all the way in another country. And these
I'm telling you.
And these people are like, I don't have to go outside to be weird anymore. No one's gonna judge me. This whole world.
I said it.
How is this going to be a phase when people are going to love and enjoy being themselves in that little room in front of that screen? How are humans ever going to go back to normal? I don't see it.
Jen,
may I respond in a very simple?
Jen, they have a robot in China right now. A robot right now. You probably know up in the corner. I wish I said his name, but they have a robot in China right now that they're working on. I saw it. I don't know how true it is, but if it is, oh my God, they have it where that she can get into position, get on top of a man, become lubed up and everything, and ride a man to just ride him. And he can just turn her on. He ain't got to worry about her saying, no, stop, leave me alone. She just, and you just get it in.
Yeah. You know what? If you want to see the good side, of what this technology is going to do, follow what Boeing is doing, what GM is doing, what Tesla is doing. In the manufacturing environment where I'm at, where what we're doing, that's going to be the power where it's like, this is great from a cultural and societal issue. There are going to be some issues that we're going to have to deal with, and the laws are going to have to try to keep up, because just like Jen said, the technology changes so fast. How do you catch this stuff? You gotta keep up with it. So
may I jump in?
I think that there are two sides where there's going to be problematic, and there's going to be some really great things that come from it that pushes us to a new level that we are going to really enjoy, but we're going to be disturbed by a segment of it.
And law enforcement
I don't know about all that, man. We got to stay in the here and now.
Yeah, but law enforcement is I know here and now. See, that's what your problem is, Eso. I got to get on you. Your problem is that you're here and now, and you're going to wake up one day and be like, damn, why is this thing flying in my house? So you got to wake up, brother. Technology is here,
it's
bro.
Coming.
It's here
coming
quickly.
That's what I know. And so that's what I'm saying. All these issues we taking into the technology realm now. Yes. So instead of it being, it's a simple fix, you know what I'm saying? No. I mean, I guess, you're right. We can't just focus on the here and now. We got to look in history before we can look forward, is what I'm saying.
It's coming, and there will be an equilibrium. I think people will figure it out, and there'll be a small segment of just weirdos that just like with YouTube,
that's what I'm saying. We can call them weirdos.
YouTube that
just gonna be the new normal.
Weird.
Right.
But humans will they always find I think Jabari, that's where Jabari is going. We always find this equilibrium at some point before the next iteration of madness, right? So that I think that's where Jabari is going. I think he may be right on that, but where that equilibrium fits, I think it's going to be like, okay, it's going to be a lot of weird stuff.
And watch this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let everybody else go. Even because this technology stuff, this is my field. So even when they have something called the health chip now, so they're testing the health chip now. Once they insert the health chip into your body, say for instance, it's hopeful you went out and got hit by a car. They're not looking for your wallet anymore. They scan your health chip. It shows you how tall you are, your weight, your next of kin, who your children are, where you live, your 7 previous addresses. They know everything about you. Watch this. It goes further. You call in on your job and say, I got a fever today. I have COVID. They can go and check your chip and see if you have a fever or have you been diagnosed with COVID. Has any hospital or clinic has diagnosed you with COVID. It'll all be on your record, and your job can go in and see if you're lying to them or not. It's coming.
That's against HIPAA. I know what you're talking about because we had a discussion. They can't. The jobs can't. That's a HIPAA violation.
I mean,
the government will rewrite
if you opting in, that's what I'm saying. If you opting in, as far as for you are a ward of the state, that's what I'm saying. All these issues that are old, that we think, oh, nothing of it, and it means nothing. We're gonna have to address them first before we get into, oh, what happens when we got chips in our. You know what I mean? Like, we got to know how to opt out of things.
Hey,
Like,
we're going to be behind the curve no matter what, because the laws do not keep up.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be able to keep up.
I'm more hopeful than that.
And we're going.
Don't be hopeful, brother. You got to be realistic. Because
we got to be realistic. That's what I'm saying. We could keep having these conversations, but if nobody's listening,
okay. Is anybody on this panel from New York?
No, Jen is.
Jen. I'm not gonna say the word because I don't want to get you demonetized. The jab. If in certain places in New York, if you don't have a jab, you can't even get groceries. You can't eat. You can't go sit down and have lunch. You can't do anything. And they're mandating that you get it. If you don't have it, so what happens when they do that in every state? People are gonna go hungry. They're gonna force you to do it, bro.
It's certain places where it's not mandated, and they
in
have
most places
record numbers of deaths still from the same thing that people are living with miles away. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. If we keep going in the realm of signs instead of science, this is what's going to keep happening. If we keep saying that science is opinion and facts are just made up fictions, that's what I'm saying. Facts are facts for everyone. If we keep going in the realm of the what ifs and this is going to happen, if we know, we got to understand where these things are coming from at the core.
Okay, so Esau, I'm gonna say this real quick because you know me and you go back and forth a lot. Let me tell you this, Esau, if I wanted to, I can come where you are right now, and I can have a chip in you in 20 minutes, and you wouldn't even know it.
You don't get what I'm saying.
But I'm just
pretty
saying
much is what you're saying.
I'm just saying they can do it.
So you're saying you don't get what I'm saying, right?
I get what you're saying, but you're talking. See, this is why my grandmother. You remind me of my grandmother. My grandmother. I told my grandmother one day. I said, "Grandmother, you need to go get a digital. You need to go get digitalized with your TV because analog TV is going to die. It's going away." My grandmother said, "Boy, that TV ain't no analog going away. That TV been like that for 40 years. We've been watching analog TV." I said, "Okay, grandmother, you're right." One day, month and a half later, she calls me. "Hey, baby, something wrong with my TV. Can you come check?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I get there, analog TV's dead. Remember when analog TV went out? Does anybody remember that? Analog, well, you can't watch analog anymore. But I said, "Grandmother, now they were giving it away to senior citizens. You missed that window. Now I have to go because I'm not gonna let her pay for it. I have to go and pay $100 to get you one because analog TV no longer exists." She believed that it never could happen. It's here. People right now, 30 years ago, they said homosexuality was a mental, well, 50 years ago, homosexuality was a mental condition. Now,
30 years ago.
30, okay, yeah, 30. There you go. 30 years ago, it was a mental issue, a mental condition. People were crazy if you thought a person was that. Now it's accepted everywhere in the world, and they have more.
It's not accepted everywhere in the world.
Well, not everywhere. I missed.
Not most places in the world.
But let's talk about the United States. It's accepted here to the point where they have more power than the damn president. Right? Now they're adding the P to it. LGQBAI plus P. And when that P get on there, you open Pandora's box, bud. Because now they have a dissertation. Go watch it. It's online. There's a dissertation where a young lady is teaching this course, and she says, if a man can love who he wants to love, and it's a man, and if a woman can love who she wants to love, it's a woman, why can't a man love a girl if she's younger than him? Why can't a woman love a young man if he's way younger, if he's a child? Okay. It doesn't matter who you love.
May I jump in? I'm sorry. I'm trying not to interrupt anybody.
Let me jump in real quick. I want to Unfiltered, drop your email address in the private chat so I can find out the name of that documentary.
Yes, ma'am.
It's you. Also, to piggyback off of what you said, the P thing was also a subject in that documentary, and they were actual people trying to say that they were going to start doing technology with fake children for those P's.
Yeah, exactly.
They're working on doing fake virtual children so those peas won't hurt real children. Other people are against it because they're saying now you're letting them think that it's okay and they will eventually act on it. So what worries me about technology is that, you know, we've gone through phases. Humanity's gone through phases, but we're addicted to these machines. We are addicted. So we're dealing with addicts now. And we're dealing with addicts in different demographics. Before it was generational. Well, our kids are getting tattoos. We didn't. Well, we smoke weed, they not. But now from grandmothers to toddlers are addicted to these machines. So we have to factor in, these are addictions now. This isn't just, we wore bell bottoms in the 70s.
Right.
We listened to David Bowie in the 80s. No, now where everybody is an addict. So that's what worries me moving forward. And when we think about, well, you know, everybody's not going to fall for it. Everybody's not going to turn into a pea. Everybody's not going to turn into a forest. Everybody's not going to turn into, but now people, we're showing we're more depressed. It's teen suicide. Teen suicide is at an all-time high. So it is changing people. It is changing our DNA, our psyche, the way we think, move it. This is changing humanity, especially because we're putting these phones in babies' hands. Real different, in my opinion, from a generational phase. This is scary, and it worries me.
May I please respond?
Yeah, let me hear Jabbar, because
I swear I'm done after this. If you want to be scared the hell out of, Jen, since you're so woke on this situation, I see that you seeing it different than the other people. If you want something to scare the hell out of you, I took my sister because she didn't believe it. I took her to the mall and I said, let's sit in the food court. And I just want you to watch the human beings here. Just watch, just sit and watch. And we sat and watched. Nobody is interacting with each other like we did in the 90s, in the 80s. Everybody's like this.
Everybody.
Like they're in a trance. And my sister say, damn, I see it now. Oh, now you see it. Everybody's like this. So what happens when you get the robot? What happens when you get where you can stay at home and play with kids? What happens when you can get in the metaverse and you make it accessible like these? It's going to be crazy. It's just, but go ahead. I'm done.
May I?
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to interrupt. I try to be.
I'm sorry, bro. Yeah.
Can you imagine being a person who grew up in a small town and you got a box, and that box allowed you to hear people communicate with you 1,000 miles away?
Yep.
In real time. Can you imagine growing up in a place in isolation and getting a box and turning it on and being able to see someone interact, play a game, read a story in real time? The power of that. I took a film class when I was in college, just because, it's a film class. And they said when The Wizard of Oz played for the first time, the first screens that it aired on, when Dorothy opened the door to the house and walked into Oz, and it was in Technicolor, the expressions, the haws and the oohs and that everybody had heard, because they'd never seen colorized film. They'd never seen it before. This isn't new, is my point. The first time you were able to live screen with someone, regardless of where they were, you were able to actually see a person in China and communicate with them face to face in real time. Every jump, every technological jump is a jump. Every technological jump is a jump. Every time there's a jump, people say, how do we deal with this? How do we overcome this? People are addicted to this. People were addicted to radio. People were addicted to TV. Jen, you're my age. When they were said, oh, people are watching TV too much, they're addicted to it. They can't turn it off. They can't move away. Now they're on their phones. Now TV viewership is cratering and people are on their phones. There's always going to be something different.
TV's on the phone.
To the people
HBO Max.
Wait a second. To the people who are afraid of the future online, I won't go into details, but when I was in the military, I did encryption and decryption. So I had the pleasure or the non-pleasure of seeing the dark web and seeing the dark web in the 90s. And I assure you, the worst in humanity have always been there.
Oh, yeah.
They've always been there. And they've always been problematic. And they've always had their own little circles, their own little corners that they've carved out. That's always existed. And the idea that law enforcement can't keep up is a tool of law enforcement to catch your ass doing the wrong thing. Because they're always, let me tell you something. The NSA, our national security agency, literally monitor levels of communication that the regular person can't conceive. How is it that we can track somebody on a phone in Afghanistan in the middle of the desert when they don't even have Wi-Fi?
What's your name?
That's how we track down Osama bin Laden, by the way.
I can't see your name. What's your name?
Jabari. And
Jabari,
that was, watch this,
name.
that was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you they put a back door, this isn't what I think, this is what I know. Anywhere that you can access the internet, there is a back door that the authorities have that they can track your ass down.
Exactly.
That's why dissidents in China and in the Middle East get snatched up by the secret police, because there's always a back door. Law enforcement, the powers that be, let me say that. I'm not talking about always policemen.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the real powers that be.
Yep.
The people who really have power. People who can make you disappear into a dark cell somewhere in a non-extradition country. Those people always have a way to track you down. Make no mistake.
So hold on, Jabari. Now watch this, Jabari. I heard everything you said. I love it. And you know why some of these people don't get caught? You know why why Mr. Epstein was found dead? Right? Because he knows too much. And half of these people that we're talking about that has these back doors, they're guarding the back door. Because I'm gonna say two things to you, two words to you: Pizza Gate. Some of the most famous and intellectual and most high up security people and congressmen and past presidents and all these different celebrities, they're on a manifesto in these same circles, doing the same thing that these weird people are doing in secret. And you thought Epstein was going to live? You thought he was going to live when he knows all this? He had an island and had people on this list like Bill and Hillary and had John McCain and his wife and all these different people that people look up to. You thought he was going to get in there and they were going to put him in a corner and he's going to get to talking? No. They had to get rid of him very quickly. Because if he started talking, woo.
Well, I'm going to say this because I have to go. I have to go feed my dogs.
Yeah, I'm about to leave too.
And I will say this. I think just like Jabari said, there's always going to be a place for the weirdos. I think there's the metaverse is going to have its own problems. It's going to bring in its own problems with relationships, with interactions with humans and everything else. But I also believe that it is going to propel society forward in ways that we don't even understand yet. And I'm all in for it, but I'm all in on the manufacturing side. I'm looking at it as a manufacturer and someone who trains other people on robots. That's how I'm looking at it. On the other side, I understand the problems that are going to rise from it. But
I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna go though. You know what I'm saying, y'all have. I appreciate you letting me up, Jen. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night.
Okay, but as far as submission is concerned, hey guys, all I would say is men submit to your wives submit to your husbands, and everyone will submit to the robots eventually. So
we already have.
We already have.
Hey guys, I have to go. I have to feed my dogs. But Jen, love this conversation. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Having a real conversation for a change has been great.
Thank you, James.
All right, later.
Jen, I appreciate you as well. This has been an amazing conversation. If I didn't have another live to go to in like 10 minutes, I would stay and have this conversation because you know a lot. And when you hit me with it, I'm like, oh, somebody else. But so I appreciate your platform as well.
Thank you so much. I'm always warning people. I feel like the crazy lady on the corner, like, no, they're getting, it's like you know, I watch a lot of documentaries. I study this thing, and I'm always telling my friends at least know what you're addicted to. Fine, stay addicted, but at least know the system and what you're addicted to. So I'm always recommending documentaries and books and things like that. And I just wanted to say that I don't think people realize that it's like, yeah, creeps have always been here, and creeps have always had their little corner in the world. The problem is the corner is growing to the block. The block is growing into a city. The city is growing into countries. And that's what people don't realize. People that weren't creeps before are now veering into creepdom. And that's the issue, that it's no longer just the creep in the corner in the dark in the hoodie. Now it's regular people like, oh, I can have sex with somebody in Russia and not be there. It's a new world order.
It is.
Not taking it seriously, but it is. But thank you so much for being here. I love this conversation. We're gonna have to come back and have this conversation because
yes,
we started with submission, but I'm very passionate about this subject, and the more we know, the better we can be. We at least have to know what they're doing. And I love what you said, how it's like the powers that be are involved in these lifestyles.
Yep.
And that's why they're always going to be ahead. The law is only going to get but so far.
Right.
But
And
you
the
got to
one-
understand, and let me, because I tend to be more of a cynic, more of a pragmatist. The elites, if we go back to Rome, you know, the most sweeping, probably historically, the most sweeping laws in terms of morality in a non-theocracy was passed by Augustine, you know, Emperor Augustine, Augustus the Great. And he said that for the sake of the family, the crime of infidelity to your wife or your husband was punishable by death. It was the equivalent of treason because it destroyed the family. But he was out there making strays constantly. I mean, he was out there banging everything he can get his little pee-pee in. So what I'm saying is the hypocrisy of the powerful has always existed, I think we don't appreciate how controlled all of this stuff that seems terrifying is. Everything is controlled. Everything is controlled. It won't be allowed to get out of hand because people like me capitalize off of this. I make money off of people that are addicted to the internet. Yeah, that's what marketing is now. That's all marketing is. I just told my niece, one of my nieces is in college. She's studying marketing. And she asked me, should she minor in management or information systems? I said, IT. You major in information systems because marketing is done online now. I don't have to go to your house. I don't have to send you a flyer. I can get right inside your head. I can literally get right inside your head. I know what you think, not because I take it, but because you give it to me. You tell me. And it is a tool of control. Now that tool of control is still controlled. It's still controlled by someone, and it's not a big secret. It's not a big brouhaha. We know who it is. Marketing companies use this information. I remember when Facebook went public. I remember that day. The shares they went public at $25 a share. The stock shot up to $48, and then it closed at 19. It closed at 19 because Facebook couldn't figure out how they were going to monetize, how they were going to make money off of this. Within a year, Facebook was trading over 70. Why? Because they let the secret out. They let out what they knew. They told what they knew to investors, which is we'll make our money because we're going to sell what people think to advertisers, the people that provide products. And it's become the most powerful company in the world right now. If you think about the fact that Facebook owns IG, Facebook and Google are the two most powerful companies in the world, far more powerful than Apple, Ford, Walmart, or any of these other companies that we think about. Because they know what you think. And it's not that it's not controlled. If you get outside, I think another issue that we have is we think the world is our circle. And don't get me wrong, the circle seems bigger, but that's a facade. Our circle seems bigger, but we're more isolated than we've ever been. If you look at places like Africa and how they use the internet, places like Asia and how they use the internet, it's not the same way we use it. It's not the same way. And I would just say people in the United States and in Europe are absolutely addicted to the internet and various incantations and various things in the internet. The reset that I'm talking about, it absolutely is going to be painful. I keep saying that over and over again. The reset will be painful. And the reset, in my opinion, will involve, in large part, a disconnecting from online. That disconnect is what's going to make it so painful, because that disconnect is going to lead to supply chain issues, which we're getting a taste of. It's going to lead to issues accessing food. People don't know how to grow their own food. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. This is what it'll take for us to disengage, and it will be painful. And when I say painful, I mean in terms of life, loss of life. It will be painful. The same way warfare has been painful in the past. It will be painful, but a reset is coming. And I think the reset is coming sooner rather than later, because we're reaching a point of critical mass. And whenever those in power feel like they're losing power, that's when you see the reset.
We have Simon. Welcome to the panel. Say what your feeling was on your mind really quick, because I'm about to end it, but I didn't want to just sign off and then you were still backstage. So welcome, Simon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Definitely. What's up?
I'm in dark mode at the moment. Just going back to the topic, so relationship submission.
Yes, that's where we started. Submission, women submitting. We got here. We got to robots. I don't know how, but that happens. It's okay.
Yeah. I just think like it's an awkward thing. Like, so you can sort of meet a lot of people, and especially when you're young, like you're trying to sort of get your head around what kind of person you're supposed to be with. And ultimately, as a man, when you meet a woman and you have your own thought processes around relationships and ultimately marriage, you would think that a woman would submit, but obviously you've been grown in a certain way, and those thoughts come from elders. So we've been through a process in this modern day and age, which is like none of the other. You know, I think last time there was some sort of pandemic like this, it was like 100 years ago. So we're having to think in a completely different way. We're having to sort of cooperate with people in a completely different way. We're having to sort of have conversations with people in a completely different way. And I think to an extent it's depreciated every time we even open our mouths. Every time like someone says something, you know, there's some backlash, or, you know, and that's reasonable, because given the situation, you wouldn't think less. And I think everyone detracts from that to an extent. And we do want to be happy people. We do want to be uplifting. I saw your birthday thing. That was brilliant. And it's fantastic. You know, we need things like that. We need, you know, to be able to understand humanity and understand the beauty in life, you know, and the beauty in people. And it's amazing, you know. It's a gem. And it's brought forth a whole collaboration of people that would never have collaborated before. Yeah, like Tristan over. Sorry. But ultimately, I think like people like yourself, keep doing what you're doing, because it's really needed. And I you know, I hope that I can keep tuning in. You know, and we've had our battles like with different discrepancies with different people over the internet and all this stuff, but we're just working stuff out. You know, we're gonna work it out. That's the ultimate thing. And I think we have not had this opportunity before. So blessings to you, blessings to the panel. I listened to the whole stream and it was brilliant. I love Lucky. It's always reversed, but I love Lucky as well, and I love all the people that sort of tune into your panel, and you know, peace and blessings. You know,
I appreciate you so much. Where are you from, Simon?
I'm from London.
Are you in London right now?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw you on Frank Gooden's channel originally.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here, and thank you for those thoughts. I appreciate them. I wish you'd come up earlier, but we all have to go now. How we got to technology, I don't know, but I love it when it goes different directions because we're learning, we're constantly learning. So if we can get more than one lesson in on one topic, I'm totally okay with that. I'm cool with the rabbit holes. I like rabbits.
I totally went down a rabbit hole in this whole YouTube game, but yeah, I mean, it's yeah.
It's hard not to go down the rabbit hole. It's hard.
I'm rocking with you, so we'll see what happens in the future.
Thank you so much. You guys made it so dope today. My moderators, thank you. You didn't have to be here, and you were, so I appreciate you on my heart. Tristan, you already know what it is. Jabari, always a pleasure, even when we are fighting. Lucky. Ladies, Rucker, no prenup for you. Simon, Love Nature, Queen Nita, Loverboy Lansky. I know what it is. Everybody who stayed with me throughout the whole stream, thank you. Exactly. Thank you to Jen. I want to thank me.
Yeah, thank Jen. Yeah.
Tristan! It's so weird seeing me. It's like, what is going on? Am I looking at the right? It's like, what is going on? All right, guys. On that note, thank you, Tristan. And catch me on the next one. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out. My next show is going to be amazing. I'm calling it Half Men, Half Amazing. I am going to talk to two men. One is an amputee. The other one was born with no legs. It's going to be a very interesting, inspirational show. You know, I like bringing you different things and different topics. I saw these men online. I thought they were amazing. I said, can I interview you about your life and how you're getting along, missing your legs? So we're going to do that on Friday. I hope you guys tune in for that because there's always something to learn from people that live differently than we do. So that one's going to be juicy. So meet me on Friday. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. So when you know when mama is on, and I'm out on the block with Jen. See ya later. All right, guys, I'm out. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. Bye.